eased your suffering by now. We'll take this time to thank our sponsors once again.
Himalayan Travel Mart 2019 is being hosted by Government of Nepal, Ministry of Culture, Tourism and Civil Aviation. It's organized by Nepal Tourism Board. Executive organizer, Pata Nepal Chapter. Official airline, National Flag Carrier Nepal Airlines. Organizing partner, Pata Headquarter. And the host city, Kathmandu Metropolitan City.
Activity partners.
Nara and High Ground Adventures.
Supporting partner.
Raven.
Premium partner.
Seeker Insurance.
Event partner.
Nepal Investment Bank Limited.
Health partner.
Civic Hospital.
Communication partner.
Ansel.
Official venue and event partner.
Solti Crown Plaza.
Platinum hospitality partners are
Kathmandu Guest House, group of hotels and resorts. Kantipur Temple House. Traditional Comfort House.
Gold hospitality partner.
Hotel Tibet and Hotel Tibet International.
Silver hospitality partner.
Hotel Akama.
Supporting hospitality partners are
Royal Singhi Hotel. Hotel Kaja Darbar. Royal Penguin Boutique Hotel and Spa. Hotel Mulberry. Shambaling Hotel. Hotel Shangri-La. Green Mansion Jungle Resort. Safari Narayani Hotel. Himalayan Front Hotel. Chitwan Barahi Jungle Lodge. Jungle Villa Resort Chitwan. Lakeside Retreat. Hotel Barahi Lakeside. Lakeview Resort. Mount Kailas Resort. Mount Glory Forest Resort. Waterfront Resort. Chitwan Paradise Hotel and Kathmandu Marriott Hotel.
Silver airline partner.
Qatar Airways.
Supporting airline partner.
Air Arabia.
Supporting airline partners are
Himalaya Airlines. Buddha Air and Druk Air.
Official publishing house.
WB Media.
Event management company.
Event Solutions and JST Productions.
IT partners.
Nectar Dessert and Transync.
Again, we'd like to welcome and thank all our sponsors and all our guests to the rest of the session. If you do clap for me, I will be happy. Thank you, thank you, thank you for the support. Because we're missing so many people. We see so many different, we see so many empty chairs. We're hoping that that will be filled because this is going to be a really fun-filled session and we don't want anyone missing it. So let's just give them 5 minutes and we will definitely resume.
And to all of you, yes, thank you so much for keeping your promising time and coming back here right on time. Thank you very much. Round of applause for all of you.
Okay.
Thank you for your patience, and we're resuming the rest of the session now. Anish, I really like what we're getting here, the teacher-student relationship. Um, do you have problems while making a decision?
Well, me? Um, yeah. No, yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
Well, I've decided today to confess my love. And I don't know if this is the right time.
Wow.
I mean, whenever. So I actually fell in love with him the first time he came to Kathmandu. He smiles and listens, cares and coaches. He makes you feel happy and want to sing and dance.
Oh, you must be talking about my dance teacher then.
No, he's not your dance teacher. He is the one and only Dr. Van Welbeek, also known as Dr. Mice. He's made us remember that life is about rejoicing and celebrating our time together. For the person who inspires the youth to lead and the leaders to stay youthful, we want Dr. Mice to take the stage on and tell us more about emotional intelligence and tourism in Nepal. Please welcome him again.
Thank you. And thank you for making me blush. It's a long time ago that happened. Okay, welcome. And let me try to show you how you can keep the time and waste and work together with the other speakers. Okay, what business are we in is the big question. People who need people are the luckiest people in the world. And aren't we lucky in the tourism industry? Because we need people. And to stay in the theme, it's exactly as Buddha said. What you think you become, what you feel you attract, and what you imagine you create. What you think you become. What Nepal thinks, you can see here. And let's help them to become that. What you feel, you attract. And a lot of people talked about this morning already. And what you imagine, you create. And the Pata people have been doing that a lot. So, I would like to give you, I had hoped to serve you that before luncheon, but after luncheon okay also, a baker's dozen of decisions or suggestions that needed to be done now to sustain Visit Nepal year, so that it becomes a success and it doesn't fly up out of the world. We have to make sure that Visit Thailand year becomes a success. So, number one, tourism, place, and people. And you heard this morning extensively about places. Places we know, places that are hidden, and places that we should keep a secret. But it's also about people. It's about good people, sometimes not so good people, and it's working again with each other. So, emotional intelligence is becoming something of importance in tourism because we are talking people. You probably know you have a left brain and you have the right brain, and your left brain is more logical, where your right brain is more subjective. And we have to work on those and make sure that you not only control your own emotions, but also the emotions of our guests, our customers. And by doing that, we can have these emotions and we serve the tourist in the right place and the right way. That can have some disadvantages, but mainly advantages, and high performers say that emotions are important. And as you could see this morning, yes, emotions are important. Number 3 is the need for emotional intelligence in Nepal's tourism. We have to work and make sure that the customers, the staff, all realize the importance of this, and that we are in the people business, and that we react and show the emotions. And as it was said already a couple of times, we need to meet the people and get connected with the people in a much better way. Social skills, self-regulation, and all these things. So, I have decided to enhance the logo of the Visit Nepal year, and we're going to put a little "Love is in the air" in there. And the CEO has promised me that at the last evening he will sing this song.
Love is in the air, everywhere I look around. Love is in the air, every sight and every sound. And I don't know if I'm being foolish, don't know.
Love is in the air, and I hope there's a lot of love in here also. I have to compliment the NTB. Last year I did a large EI training for mainly their own staff, and we talked a lot about this. And actually the day after tomorrow on Sunday, I will do for the National Tour Operators Board also a presentation on emotional intelligence and how it can help you to do a better business and a win-win situation. Number 4, the need to enhance the soft skills. We hear a lot about hard skills and soft skills. Hard skills being educated at high schools, universities, colleges. But the difference between the two is important. And whether we like it or not, tourism is a soft skill, mainly business. Yes, you have to learn how to serve a plate or how to do this, but it is all about the people of that. So, needed to be a team player, needed to be a problem solver, a wordsmith, and the Nepalis can do that pretty well, and aware of the bottom line, and last but not least, a sense of integrity. And that's what we're trying to bring the students and together. And again, we're talking now about smart skills, and we're talking about sharp faculty, so that they can do a super job, and they are geared to take their place in our industry. Stop saying it can't be done. Time and time I hear in Nepal when I suggest things, can't be done, can't be done. I talk to some people of the civil aviation and the airport authorities, and they keep telling me low-cost carriers can't come here, because they're charging exactly the same, because the policy is no airline can pay a different rate. And even at the 2 new airports, the airlines have to pay the same rate as in Kathmandu, so your low-cost people will not be interested to come. Can't be done. Well, I don't agree with that. That should be done, because you want more tourists, and I will bring that up also outside of this meeting. One of the problems the students talk to me about is when they do internships in Nepal is what I call the man in black. You see him standing around everywhere, in every hotel, normally with the back to the customers because they're so busy talking to each other that they have no time for those customers. They have been in the hotel, I can't say working, but they have been in the hotel for 20 years, and they believe they know it all. And when those students come in, the students are basically misused in all kinds of different ways. So at least I hope the men in black in the future will turn their face to the customers and not their back to the customers. This is uniforms these days. And I don't know why in every hotel everybody has to be dressed in black. That was 30 years ago that we did that. But these days that should not be, and I think this hotel in Bangkok gives you a perfect example of how to do that. So, no problem is a problem. And that's really what this is all about. So let's stop taking our head out of the sand. If you think training is expensive, try ignorance. We tried to organize some training 2 days ago, but it was all the same story. We're too busy, no time to train, or we're not busy and we have no money to train. And again, we like to train because, you know, once we train people, the hotel industry believes that they will go somewhere else and not being motivated, which relates directly to the stupidity of human resources management in a not very clever way. And that's really what we need, more HR, better HR, and looking at the people not as an employee, but as a resource. Looking at the guides, looking at everybody as a resource, and develop that accordingly, and do human resource management the way it should be done, with the aim of long-term employment, not from hire, fire, and things like that. So, people business is general week, and we will have to make sure we do a better job in the future to stay competitive that way. It's very much old style, HR, hire, fire, and pay, and what we need is this modern, new style of planning, career planning, and again, students talk to me about that too. So the ultimate question is, of course, that people have to understand that the employer is not the one that pays the money, but the guest. And it's that guest, that visitor, that pays our wages. And a lot of people forget that. So if you don't take care of your staff, your competitors will. And that's going to be interesting. As you heard already, Cam also saying a lot of new hotels on the construction. But Mr. Marriott is coming to town. He already has nearly 2 hotels in operation. No, 2 hotels and 1 nearly in operations. And Marriott does knows what HR is all about. And I hope that that will have an effect on the HR of the other hotels, so they start realizing that we have to do a better job, because otherwise a lot of people will jump to the other situation. So, tourism organizations working together. So, that we work, train, and make sure we are making sure that they teach and learn at the same time, and you see that happening here with the students. It's all about training and education. When people ask me what's the difference between training and education, I always say this: what would you prefer, sex education or sex training? So, up to you to discuss that. Come and see me with a beer later on this evening. Okay, I'm proud to say that PATA is doing this. Not the sex education, but is taking care of the students very well, and their 1,100 strong student chapter is something to be jealous about. They get awards on a regular basis on developing, and both the previous chairman and this chairman is pushing the youth very much. So, number 11, adapting education and working together is really what this is all about. But the Z generation is a totally new one, and we have to start not only learning about critical thinking and self-management, we also have to start teaching those things. And sadly, we have a lot of teachers that are still living in the past more than in the future. Number 12, the myth of students going overseas to college. I did a survey of the students that are around here, which I trained on Sunday the whole day, and I asked them, where would you want to go after your college? And although every hotelier always tells me they all want to go abroad, they told me a completely different story. They want to stay here. They want to be here. They want employment, and they, of course, want employment abroad also to learn. Sadly, again, for the reasons I just mentioned, that's not always working very well. So we have to make sure the hotel industry and also the tour operators start working on sustainable HR and not the last one. And that, ladies and gentlemen, makes me to the last one of the baker's dozen. And the question is really, why am I talking to you? Because we're doing this already. And as you can see, and please come forward, these are the kids. This is the new generation. And let's accept it. They are the world.
We are the world. We are the world. We are the children. We are the ones who make a better day. So let's start giving. So let's start giving. There's a choice to make. Ever saving every life. It's true, we'll make a better day. You and me. We are the world. We are the world. We are the children. Yes, sir. We are the ones that make a better day. So let's start giving. There's a choice we're making. We're saving our own lives. It's true, we make a better day. Just you and me. Let's go.
So my whole talk of 15 minutes is useless because they are doing it already, and this is the future, and this is what Nepal has to offer from an emotional intelligence point of view. Thank you very much for being, and thank you very much for recognizing those kids. In my eyes, they are kids, for doing what they're doing. And again, my congratulations for Pata chapter to doing such a great job. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Look, take away.
Thank you, Dr. Bert, for always rejoicing and celebrating life.
So to honor the Dr. Bert with the token of appreciation, may I please call upon stage Mr. Andrew Jones, former chairman of Pacific Asia Travel Association Headquarters, Bangkok. Thank you so much to Mr. Andrew Jones. And yes, Dr. Mice, without you, the HTM always looks incomplete. Thank you very much.
You too.
Thank you so
I will
much.
always love you.
Okay, the love is too much in the air.
Yes. Do you have something to say?
Well, since I also have a lot of love in the air, and being a very frank to my teacher, I hope I don't be a chicken tomorrow morning in the college.
Uh-huh.
You know, I just don't understand why do teachers always nag to us about something that we don't do.
Something that you don't do?
Yeah, of course, something that we don't do.
What is that?
Well, I think a lot of students knows that. Well, that's a homework.
Homework. Please. I mean, but if you look at it, I think every one of us should be doing our homework. Responsibility and sustainability starts at home.
Well, then, I guess I'll have a tons of homework tomorrow to do after the events. Thank you so much. Well, to moderate the next session, I would like to call upon here in the stage Mr. Dipender Purustakal, who is the former Secretary of Ministry of Culture, Tourism, and Civil Aviation. He will be moderating the session, the upcoming sessions.
Thank you, Rita and Anish. I know that the time has run out already, so we try to be very brief for this session. And for that purpose, I will be asking the speakers also to cooperate with me to limit their presentations within 10 minutes each. However, this session, we are trying to focus on the need of sustainability and social responsibility in the tourism business, embracing from the individual responsibility as well as the corporate social responsibility, with an emphasis on maximizing positive impacts in the economy, as society, and environment of the destinations. The products and the human resource capital only are not sufficient enough to attain the goals of the sustainable tourism. We have to follow with the trend. The tourism market has to be modeled to meet with the challenges of today. We have to look at the carrying capacity of the destination and also the proper management of the tourism centers. Responsible tourism has been the talk of the, responsible tourism is one of the prime concerns of the tourism fraternity itself. PATA has been promoting this responsible tourism also. In this changing paradigm, in the interest of the modern travelers and service providers, offering responsible and sustainable experiences to their guests, one should be well enough informed, not only informed for the service providers, but also be informed with the demands and choices of the incoming tourists. This session is going to focus again more on experience-based examples by each and every speakers this afternoon. We will be touching upon the trekking trails, human trafficking, health and safety, community-based, as well as the experience of the climber. So 5 distinguished speakers for this session will be highlighting on that. So let me first invite the speakers today. To the dais, that is Mr. Galio Sainz. Please. Miss Nancy Rivers. Dr. Sudha Sharma. You want to leave this chair for me? I should sit here? Miss Kelly Lewis. Dr. Joy Shajam. Dr. Joy Shajam, yeah. You have short introduction of each and everyone in the souvenir also, so I will not go into detail of that. However, just to give a brief introduction, Galliosine is a founding member of the multiple conservation NGOs, including the Mountain Conservation Trail, Mountain Conservation Trail, Rim of Africa, and the Biodiversity Corridor Initiative, Eden to Addo in South Africa. He is also the founding chairperson of the World Trails Network, an international non-profit association registered in Geneva. He championed the global trails industry, supporting best practices and sustainable trails, while simultaneously promoting the world's leading trails and trail destinations. He is also the co-chair of the International Union for Conservation, CEESP, theme on environment and peace, and its global task force on migration and environmental change. Sanj holds an MSc degree from Shoemaker College, UK, and he loves wild nature, rock climbing, poetry, and sleeping beneath the stars. So, Galliosine, I welcome you to make your presentation. Yeah, please, wherever, yeah?
Right. Greetings, everyone. I'm forever inspired by the stories of hope that come from the trails in the Himalaya. And I want to share with you today one particular story that inspired me some years ago when I was here doing a trail audit on some of the trails in this beautiful kingdom of mountains. And I tell this story because it reminds me and illustrates for me very clearly why sustainable tourism is everyone's business. The story takes place just outside Namche Bazaar, where there's a section of trail leading up to the Everest Base Camp. And when you walk on this trail, you'll suddenly discover it's incredibly beautiful. It's well maintained, extremely beautiful steps that are cut. And if you carry on walking, you'll see eventually a table sitting in the middle of the trail. And on this table is a big square box. And on the box is a padlock. And above the padlock is written, "Donations and thank you." Behind this table sits a man. His name is Pasang Lama Sherpa, and he's now 80 years old. He has been looking after this trail as a self-appointed custodian for over 40 years. When I asked him why he does this, he says, because it is really important for the people who are going to climb Everest to have a beautiful trail to walk on. For 40 years, he's been a self-appointed trail maintainer and trail builder. For me, he is a champion, a trails champion, but also a sustainable tourism champion. He understands that the right infrastructure is necessary to sustain tourism. Little does he know that the infrastructure he's helping to maintain and support is contributing to a multi-million-dollar revenue stream for this country. That region alone where his trail is brought in close to 40 million rupees in just 3 months in direct tourism permits in the peak season of 2017. Caring for tourism infrastructure is critical investment necessary by all governments, and especially in the case of trails that underpin adventure experiences. Little does Pasang Lama Sherpa know that more than 40% of all adventure tourism happens on trail infrastructure and supports a global industry, as we heard earlier this morning, of over $680 billion annually. Another study by East Carolina University some years back highlighted that 90% of those surveyed indicated that hiking trails were their primary adventure activity. Soft adventure, we know, is growing globally, and it's worth our attention. Sustainable tourism requires champions, and every one of us in this room is such a champion. Whether we work in the reception at a hotel, whether we are a cook in a homestay, or a guide on one of the most dangerous rivers in the world, or a flight attendant on a national carrier, the visitors who are here to enjoy beyond experiences are in our hands. Meanings are created or recreated along the entire chain of the tourist experience. From the first blog someone reads about a destination to the booking page for accommodation itself, every step feeds the next step and builds or discredits the meaning that begins to take place in the visitor's mind. For many years, we have marketed the so-called experience economy, and we know and delight that millennials spend money rather on experiences than on things. Well, this is great, and this was driven primarily by the social media platforms. But last year, Edison research showed, and statistics indicate, that across all channels in social media, we're seeing a drop-off in user numbers. So, this is a challenge to all of us. We are essentially a species that is defined by meaning. Social media is mostly surface stuff. Meaning making is what we are in search of to fill the void that has been left in the social wake. Tourism with meaning is a new frontier, in my opinion, and I think it was underpinned this morning. I didn't know about transformation tourism, but I now know about it, which is really nice to know. We make meaning through our religions, through our science, through our social interactions, and of course, through our experiences. Tourism that connects us more deeply is about meaning making. But it also makes business sense. And if we think about it, the deeper the meanings are that we cultivate through our engagement with our visitors, the more likely those visitors are to return again and again. And not only that, they're more likely to emphasize their experience and sell it to friends and family. One of the things, I seem to have missed a slide, but one of the things, let me explain why meaning making and how it can fit into your product. It means offering authentic experiences, being true to your product and not trying to be what you're not. Honest production or honest product curation means offering quality, ethical behavior beyond short-term opportunities, and a deep spirit of hospitality, which looks at your engagements with others beyond profit. Return business, as we know, is the secret of sustainable tourism. It is the only way to survive, in my opinion, in a meaning-orientated economy, which I believe we're moving into. Because return business, after all, is about real relationships. But what about the ever-increasing demand of development? And how do we keep it sustainable? Even here, I maintain, meaning has a place to play. I say responsible development is development that does no destruction, number one. And number two is an approach that focuses on the principle of first do no harm. It's about standards and quality and upholding those standards. It's about having clear intent and planning processes for developing new products. Implementation of policies that are in place that are respectful of both people and the planet. And it includes built-in ongoing monitoring and assessment of those products. And finally, distribution of benefits across the entire tourism chain. I seem to have jumped a slide, so my slides are not lining up with my work here. From a sustainable tourism perspective, though, my organization, the World Trails Network, works globally with 8 international trail task teams that connect trails across different sectors, from trails and tourism to trails and culture, to trails and nature, to trails and media, to trails and sustainability, where we are addressing the Sustainable Development Goals through developing best practice guidelines. All of these task teams are amazing teams working internationally with volunteers of experts who are coming up with guidelines and best practice operational ideas for trail-related tourism operations. We have built in this space, one of our primary tools is something called the Green Flag Trail System. And I'm very proud that we have this implemented as well in Nepal, and we've trained a number of trail auditors in this country. The Green Flag Trail System works very similar to the Blue Flag Beach System, which some of you may be aware of, where it assists the trail user or the tourist in knowing beforehand, if it's been accredited as a green flag trail, that they are likely to get what they expect to get. And this is one of the big things in tourism. You don't want any surprises. You want to know that you can confidently sell a product and that your clients will receive what they expect to get. Meaning making is critical to all of this, and we work on the ground with trail experiences to continue to add meaning through great design. You can create an incredible experience of meaning by simply designing your trail or your itinerary in a way that takes that into account from the outset. I reflect a little bit on what was in the earlier session, where that meaning making happens through having an intent, through meaningful connection, through reflection during the tourist experience, and through meaning making, and we've heard this morning as well, through meditation and having a presence when one is doing the work one does. I'd like to share with you an example of meaning making on a project that we did a year ago in Japan, where we took 16 new generation or next generation young trail visionaries from 16 different countries. And their task was to find a manifesto for trails that speaks specifically to the challenge we face in the trail tourism sector. And the Trail Manifesto is what they came up with. These are the voices of 16 young people from around the world. And the Trail Manifesto goes like this: we are a trail tribe. We walk, we run, we hike, we ride. Trail is our story, our playground, a sexy line past peaks, through valleys, way over waterfalls, beyond visions and goals and deadlines and beats. Where we go, we leave no trace. We follow the simple signs. Connect by going deeper, explore by reaching further. Every dream adventure, every journey meaning. Every wild thing at home, rising moon and sun and endless sky. Take a map, carry water, be trail ready. Embrace all elements, sleep under stars. Love what is wild and taste the salt of trying. We, this tribe, stay the course and keep on track. We collaborate, we educate, we celebrate. We love that old song, freedom. Yes, we protect nature, preserve heritage, share culture, sustain communities, and every time give thanks by giving back. Every step makes a difference. Every trail makes a life. This is our manifesto: to always love the path beneath our feet, to roam, to share, to wander on, be it walk or ride or hike or run. We are a trail tribe, and the trail is a call to everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sainz. Now our next speaker will be Nancy Revert. And again, her short introduction is in the souvenir. She is the founder of the Airline Ambassadors International, AAI, in 1996. Well, she invented this when she was a flight attendant. And her initiatives have involved, have hand-delivered over 60 million of aid to children in 62 countries, in orphanages, clinics, and remote communities, impacting over 500,000 children. Volunteers have escorted 3,000 children for life-changing Medicare. AAI developed the first industry-specific training and has become the leading advocate for awareness in the airline industry. AAI recognized report its training has been provided at 75 airports to over 7,000 flight and air personnel. Nancy and her initiative has been very well recognized and awarded by the international community. Almost every year she has been recognized, or her initiations has been recognized by the world community since 1999. In 1999, she was awarded with the Women of Peace Award. In 2000, Ambassador of Peace Award. 2001, Rotary Paul Harris Fellow. In 2004, National Caring Award. In 2006, President's Award for Lifetime Achievement. In 2007, the Governor of Mississippi and Foreign Ministry of El Salvador restored honor on her. Boys Town in 2010, President's Volunteer Service Award and Global Women of the Year at the Academy of Television, Arts and Sciences, and the Ambassador of Peace Award at the London Travel Market 2013, recognized at IPTI in 2014, and Human Rights Hero Award by the Foundation for a Slavery-Free World in 2015. Commendation from Congresswoman Lee in 2016 and 2017, and in 2018, AAI was honored by Nevada Child Seekers. She signed a contract for her life rights for a future book and feature film on her life story. So Nancy, with all this international recognition of yours, we are proud to have you here as a speaker today. Thank you.
I didn't know you were going to say all that. Thank you very much, and I'm so very happy to be here. I didn't know he was going to read all that, but I appreciate it. I first want to give thanks to Dr. Kate Jewell, who's here with me today. She is the director of our Nepal humanitarian program, and she suggested to the PATA board that we share about our work, our leading edge work in human trafficking awareness. So thank you, Kate. All right. So first I want to give you a little background. It was so interesting to have this spiritual group go earlier because when my father died, I was working in management at American Airlines. And I went back to being a flight attendant to embark on a very deep and profound spiritual search for 7 years. At the end of the 7 years, I gave away most of my possessions, and I asked God how I could make a difference. And I saw that the travel industry can play a far more fundamental role building bonds of friendship, goodwill, and understanding between people and cultures. And I founded Airline Ambassadors in 1996. Originally, we began as flight attendants, hand-delivering humanitarian aid on missions around the world. We expanded to include people from all backgrounds and professions, and we've done a lot of good. We're the only relief and development organization of the overall airline industry, and also a UN NGO, and we support the Sustainable Development Goals. So every month we have humanitarian missions, and we saw lots of children in need. We knew that well, but we didn't know anything about the issue of human trafficking until in Cambodia in 2009, we found a little girl. I don't know how to do there, who had been abandoned by her parents and was drawing clothes on her own body with a red marking pen. She was living underneath a house that was up on stilts, and they said, oh, a trafficker will pick her up tonight. We didn't know what human trafficking was. We gave the little girl a balloon, and we thought, how can we leave her in danger? And we ended up getting her to a doctor and to a safe house. She had no clothes, no name, no hair. We named her Som Nang, which means lucky. And we learned on that trip about the dark reality of human trafficking. The following month, 2009 again, we were in the Dominican Republic, as usual, hand-delivering aid to orphans and children in need. We talked about human trafficking, and we promised each other to be aware on our flights out. Incredibly, on 4 different airlines, we correctly identified human trafficking, our team of 12 people, because we talked about the indicators. Our first tip led to the bust of a pornography ring in Boston, saving 86 children. We knew yes, and we did 2 congressional briefings that year, which were successful, but the airlines didn't take much action at all. We knew from personal experience that traffickers use commercial air travel. They use all forms of transportation, but commercial air travel was one of them. And thousands of victims are trafficked across international borders every year. We knew that the aviation personnel and tourism personnel can play a key role in detecting and discerning human trafficking en route. They can be force multipliers for law enforcement. We developed, because no one was taking any action, and we saw a place where we could serve, the first industry-specific training on human trafficking awareness, which we vetted with the US Department of State, Homeland Security, Customs Border Protection, and we gave our first training before the Super Bowl in Dallas to a standing room only crowd. We've now implemented 105 trainings around the world, across the United States at airports and in many other countries. We would love to do a train the trainer for all the Nepalese airlines and for the tourism industry as well. Our work has led to legislation in the United States for flight attendants are mandated to receive training on human trafficking. That's being expanded this year. And the following year, both ICAO, International Civil Aviation Organization, recommended that all airlines train staff. We were on the committee of ICAO that developed those guidelines. IATA jumped on as well, International Air Transport Association, to support the effort. Our Eyes Wide Open campaign. Here's what we teach applied to the tourism industry as well. To be observant, to be connected. Our job is to be connected to people, to ask targeted questions. This flight attendant might be asking, where are you going, what's going on? And she might notice that the little girl has a bunch of bruises or is in control of the person next to her. She talks to her fellow flight attendants and they have the same idea, something might be wrong. We teach the flight attendants to tell, at this point, the pilot and explain the indicators, the seat number, and have the pilot radio ahead that professional evaluation may be needed. The flight deck coordinates with dispatch at the upcoming airport and law enforcement either meets the flight undercover if it's a domestic flight, or Customs and Border Protection meets the flight. Everyone goes through customs when they arrive in the country. We've been successful. In the last 2 years, we developed an app. We've received 1,200 reports of human trafficking, so we've saved a lot of lives. It's happening in airports. This particular case happened in Gatwick Airport, where they're bringing young girls in from Eastern Europe for well-paying jobs in bars and cafes, auctioning them off in the arrivals hall, right there in front of everybody. It's happening in Nepal as well. This is considered one of the busiest trafficking routes in the world, from Nepal to India. It's estimated that 150 to 200,000 girls are transferred across that border every year. The brothel owners in Calcutta and Mumbai are requesting the lighter-skinned Nepali girls, so there's a high price on them. They pay between 50 and 70,000 rupees per girl. The younger the girl, the more higher price she fetches. And the victims are forced to serve 3 to 40 clients a day. A young girl that's tricked into crossing the border, the trafficker will pay the family in the country that think they're providing a better life for their daughter, ends up being trapped in one of these brothels, having to service lots of men per day, and she's unable to leave. She's under what they call debt bondage, and they force and intimidation and drugs, everything you can imagine is used. It's amazing to think this is happening in our time. Labor trafficking is another issue where many children are forced to work in the brick factories, the carpet factories, the tea rooms, etc., in agriculture. And really, it's the poverty that's the root of it. It's the Dalit caste, the untouchables, and the indigenous people that are at the highest risk. But there's a way for tourism to fight back and to be aware. We can train tourism professionals and aviation professionals on the indicators of human trafficking, develop a policy. In every organization should have a policy. You can demonstrate social responsibility by raising public awareness, not only among your employees, but among your clients. And ideally, trafficking victims oftentimes are stigmatized when they go back to their villages, and they need jobs. Being willing to train and hire trafficking survivors is key. If we come here and do a training for you, our training is unique because we work with trafficking survivors, and once people hear their stories, they're totally riveted and motivated to make a difference. And they can support local NGOs. Kate and I are here also to meet with Mighty Nepal and some of the other trafficking NGOs to see ways we can support them. Here's a quick success story of an agent in Sacramento that saved 2 girls from human trafficking. They'd been recruited by a guy on Instagram, saved their lives. Another case, a flight attendant had seen 4 to 5 girls being trafficked, being moved every time she took the flight to Chicago, and had bus tickets to New York. They said they were coming to be models or work on television, but they didn't even speak English. They were being trafficked into the sex trade. Sandy's response and call to the hotline ended up in an undercover person being put on the plane to stem the flow of trafficking out of Moscow. Another one from Uber and hotels. We saved people in both Uber and hotels. And also, this is basically our tourism operator in Sierra Leone. He runs an orphanage there. He called airline ambassadors for help. Because of his interaction, we were able to save 48 girls from human trafficking that were being led to Kuwait with promises of jobs. This is him meeting the first group, and last week, the last group of 48 girls came back to Sierra Leone. So unless we are willing to take action, this can be the last trace of an abducted child. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nancy. Our next speaker is Dr. Sudha Sharma. And Dr. Sudha Sharma is the former secretary to the Ministry of Health and Population in Nepal. She had also served as the president of Nepal Medical Association, president of Nepal Society of Obstetricians and Gynecologists, president of the South Asian Federation of Obstetrics and Gynecology, and chair of Education Committee of the Oceania Federation for Obstetrics and Gynecology. She also has been bestowed with national and international awards, including a Woman of the Year award from FIGO for her contributions to women's health. She is the fellow of a Royal College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists in UK and holds a master's degree in public health. She has served as an advisor to the various UN agencies, especially WHO, and also the international NGOs operating in Nepal and abroad. She is a professor, and she was also a director of Parupakar Maternity and Women's Hospital, the public government hospital, very well-renowned government hospital in Kathmandu. And she also has served as the chief of the health and nutrition in UNICEF Tanzania, during which she also served as the chair of the Development Partners Group and contributed to developing health sector strategy plan there. More recently, she served as a consultant to the Ministry of Health and Population DFID funded project and led the development of Safe Motherhood and Newborn Health Roadmap for 2030. She is currently working as a co-director in the Shivak Hospital situated in Kathmandu, Nepal, very well-known hospital among the tourists visiting this country. Dr. Sudha Sharma, now I invite you to make the presentation.
Good afternoon and namaste, everyone. It's great honor and privilege for me to represent CIWIC Hospital here in this gathering, and I would like to thank organizers for having CIWIC as a partner for the Himalayan Travel Mart 2019. Thank you so much. As you all know, Nepal is an explorer's paradise, and we heard in the morning about how the lure of Himalayas continue to attract people. Yeah, and because of lack of time, I will not go through the details of all my slides. Okay, the fact that I would like to focus on is health and safety, because I think we heard in the morning that from the National Geography, I think Ms. Quintus, I think you explained that among the other indicators for Nepal, health and safety were really at the lowest. So I would really like to highlight about how health and safety situation is in Nepal for the tourists. We had about 1 million visitors last year, and the aim is to double this by 2020. And again, we heard from Venerable Mr. Bhikkhu that if we keep doing things the way we're doing now, it's unlikely. So we really need to do better, and that is where the health sector would like to play a part and make Nepal really safe for travelers. So, yeah, and the challenge is, this is placed a bit, difficultly for me. So I'll just come here if you don't mind. Yeah, Tamar Deksa? Yeah, it's okay. So, there is wide variation in topography, as you know, and the traveler preparedness may be inadequate, and there are newer guides, lack of trekker and guide education, and there have been deaths of travelers, which is really a tragic incidence, and there are risks to porters, local communities, and the environment. So we need to make it safe for everybody. Thank you. Yeah, and in terms of making Nepal safe in terms of health, the government of Nepal and the partners who are in this room, we are making great efforts to make Nepal safe for everybody, including all our visitors. There are local clinics run by the government at various places, and also those run by Himalayan Rescue Association, and more other partners are also coming into the sector now. And the health sector is working in close collaboration with travel insurance companies, hospitals, and tour operators. These are some of the pictures where rescue operations are done by multiple partners, some of whom are in this room, and I borrowed materials from their websites. The travel medicine is gaining ground in Nepal. Currently, there's an international travel medicine conference going on in Washington, D.C., and some of my colleagues from CIWIC Hospital are participating in that conference, and CIWIC, including other travel partners, are very much part of this international movement of strengthening travel medicine. And we are part also of the global network. If you see, Nepal is right here as a partner for the Sentinel site, which is located in Kathmandu. And travel medicine, I would not like to go into the details, but it makes travel safe, not just for the traveler, but also for cultures, for environment, for the regions that are being visited, and also by preventing disease and other adverse outcomes to the traveler. So how the travel medicine in general, and particularly in Nepal, is contributing is by preparing the traveler, including for vaccination, the ones that go from Nepal abroad and the ones that come to Nepal from elsewhere. We can always guide them and provide them support, We provide immediate rescue and life-saving support. We also deal with migrant health and analysis of trends and patterns of infectious diseases through our research labs. That's a common thing that we do. And we are also analyzing the environment and health impact, including water scarcity, global warming, pollution, and so on, and the research on supporting development of strategies. So it was in Nepal and Himalayas that modern medicine, mountain medicine, made great advances in altitude illness. And these are all the scientific literatures which have been published. And there are many more. Because of lack of time, again, I would not like to go into the details. But I would like to highlight some of the current issues that have affected the travel industry here, especially the health sector as well. There have been claims that much more acute mountain sickness evacuations are being done. I think somebody alluded to in the morning that a bad apple spoils the entire basket. You know, there may have been some bad apples, but then the entire industry was somehow tarnished by people who might have had bad intentions. So, and there's a lot of competition nationally and internationally, as you know. So the implication was there is a nexus between the rescue, the tour operators, the health facilities, the helicopters, and so on and so forth. And it's claimed that there have been a significant financial incentives at multiple levels. And also there are myths and misconceptions related to medicines in Nepal. Oh, you don't get good medicine, there are not enough doctors, you know, the care provided is not so good, and so on and so forth. So in response to that, the government has been on top of all of this. There have been several meetings with the tourism board, with Honorable Minister, whom we saw yesterday, who passed away unfortunately, but the whole team of the ministry, and the partners who are in this room. We've really carefully monitored the situation, and government has been very firm in trying to monitor the situation and eliminate, asking partners to eliminate if there is any financial incentive, and really minimize or limit negative messages. And through this forum here, we would like to request you again to, you know, really understand the real situation and then make your own judgments based on reality and not just the publications that have come out in the international media. And then the institutions have to also institute self-audit and then strengthen public-private partnership for many other things, for quality assurance, training, and so on and so forth, which we have been doing in the health sector. So these are, again, some of the attempts made by the government through the Tourist Search Rescue Medication Monitoring Guidelines. The guideline mandates that the local primary treatment is offered locally, and for further treatment, the person is sent to nearest hospitals. And then there are clear referral guidelines. So once the patient actually comes to bigger hospitals, with the descent, things might have improved. So it's really very hard for the hospitals to judge whether the evacuations were, you know, done in haste or whether they were genuinely indicated. It's not possible sitting here in Kathmandu to make judgments. So we believe that the regulation set by the government is observed by everybody. And now, with this backdrop, I come to what CWEC Hospital, that's where I am working, is doing. We started as a clinic in 1982, primarily dealing with travel medicine. Our director, Dr. Pratibha Pandey, she has years of experience working with Professor Dr. David Schlim and so many other colleagues who are experts in travel medicine. And gradually we've grown to the current CWEC Hospital, and my role there is to strengthen the surgical specialty within the hospital. So we are not just providing clinical care to the patient, and in that we provide all the first aid care as well as specialized care. For example, if there is fractures, trauma, or frostbites, or any other problem like acute surgical emergencies, CWEC Hospital is able to deal with all of that. And not just CWEC, there are multiple other partners and hospitals and providing very good quality services. Like I was told in the introduction session, I worked in Tanzania for almost 6 years. And let me assure you, the quality of health service here in Nepal and in Asia is much, much better than what is there in Africa. So rest assured, the quality of service that we offer is really very good. This is our hospital here in Kathmandu and in Pokhara, which is like a small boutique hospital, but then the quality of care we provide is excellent. Our commitments is to keep our visitors safe and healthy, offering the best possible care. So we would like to thank all our partners and thank you all for your kind attention.
Now I invite Ms. Kelly Lewis, and I will also ask her to introduce herself to the audience, please.
I'm going to go ahead and use this. I'm going to use this. Everyone can hear me? Cool. I told him that I could introduce myself. My name is Kelly Louise. If you want to know more about me, you can just Google me. That's a lot easier. I'm the founder of Impact Travel Alliance, and I will get into more about what we do a little bit later in the presentation. But today I want to share with you guys about the power of sustainable tourism and specifically community-based tourism. So this is the most text that you guys will see on one of my slides. The main points that you have to take here, as you guys all know, the two organizations that we really look to measure growth within the industry are the UNWTO and the WTTC. As travelers and travel professionals, we tend to measure growth in numbers and really look at that as success within the industry. So this past year, our tourism, at the amount of international tourists is at its all-time highest, raising by about 6% last year. And our growth for spending is up a 3.9%, which sounds really good when you look at it like this. You're like, that's great, that's a lot of progress, we're growing, this is getting better year over year. Until you compare it to something like this, and you see that there's a crack. So if you look at the red one on the bottom, that's the growth in the amount of tourists, and then the other line is the growth in the amount of money that they're spending. So there's more travelers, but they're spending less money, and less money is staying in local economies, and that's a huge problem. This is Amelia Earhart. I'm assuming that you guys all know the story of Amelia Earhart, and I wanted to make a point here because Amelia Earhart didn't get lost because she took a wrong turn. She had 1 degree of separation that was off in the wrong direction, and that ultimately led her down the wrong path out into who knows where. So rather than looking at a story of we're hopeless, there's over-tourism, there's greenwashing, there's all of these issues within the travel industry, I want to look at it in the other way and say, let's move the needle over 1 degree in the opposite direction and see where that takes us. So we're all in Nepal right now. I wanted to share some stories from other communities around the world, and hopefully that you guys, as you're here in Nepal, you can draw experiences and draw parallels to what that looks like into the local Nepalese community and the travel industry here. This is a community in South Africa in a small rural area called Bellini. Most people, they hear South Africa, they think about Cape Town, they think maybe about Johannesburg, and they have all of these stereotypes that they think of when they're considering tourism in South Africa. They're not necessarily thinking about a little town called Bellini, but there's a really, really great community-based tourism project there that is run by these women. And if you've ever heard the term going to the salt mines, it essentially means that there's something that you're going to do that is incredibly hard. So you have these women in this community, and what they do is they go to the salt mines, and they are mining salt. It's this incredibly hard, incredibly intensive practice that they do, and it's something that's been a part of their indigenous community for more than 2,000 years. There's a really great community-based tourism organization called Transfrontier Parks and Destinations. And when they went into this community and they said, we have travelers who are interested in learning more about this practice, we'd like to bring them here to you, there were 5 women who were practicing this 2,000-year-old tradition. Now, because of the power of tourism, there's more than 32. So simply from travel, we have the power to save 2,000-year-old practices that were at risk of disappearing within our lifetimes. I I also want to make a point to talk about what sustainable tourism is. We've been doing a lot to talk about sustainable tourism as a whole, and a lot of times I'm talking to someone and they're like, I'm picking up what you're putting down, but I don't really understand what sustainable tourism actually is. We've done surveys within our community, and we found that there's a lot of people who are really excited about the concept of sustainability, but they don't have a concrete definition of what it actually looks like. So I'm not just talking about ecotourism, I'm talking about something that has a positive impact on the people, planet, and profit. Essentially, I'm talking about travel that empowers local communities and protects our environment. And that's something that every tourism business should be doing, and should be doing it fiercely. This is Times Square. I'm willing to bet, I'm a New Yorker, I'm willing to bet that when you think of sustainable tourism, you don't think of Times Square. But it is absolutely possible to have an urban sustainable experience in New York City, and you can also have one in Times Square. There's a really great company called New York City Urban Adventures, and they do a tour of Times Square and Midtown where you're able to visit local destinations, support local businesses. They teach you how to walk through different side streets, so you're not you're not adding to the overcrowding that's already happening that you guys can all see right there at the bottom. And it's a really great, authentic experience that allows you to get a local glimpse into New Yorkers' lives. If when you go to New York City, all you're doing is going to Times Square and getting a I Heart New York City t-shirt, you have not seen my city. And so this is a really great way that we can still do something that's a top tourist destination and have a really good local impact on that community. I also love finding sustainable experiences that are related to food and drinks. This is a fantastic winery in New York City called Rooftop Reds. And they've actually developed the first commercially viable winery that's on a rooftop up in New York City and in the world, and it's in New York City. And you can go there and you can learn about the process behind how they're growing the wine and distilling it on top of a rooftop, and they're doing it in a sustainable way. And this is a really cool experience where you have a very immersive look into what it's like to be a New Yorker, and you're also doing something that's sustainable at the same time. So at the end of the day, to me, it's an easy sell because these experiences that I'm telling you about are the best, immersive, most authentic experiences that you can have in a destination. But even if you don't care about that and you're just a business owner who cares about your bottom line, this is the secret to how you're going to have a better business. Companies that do good for the environment, their labor force, and communities do well financially, and that's proven. If you want to talk to me about all of the business benefits later, I'm happy to do that. I could go on and on, but I do want to be cognizant of the time. My main point here is that when I came to Nepal for the first time, this is my third time, everyone that I met told me going once is not enough. And I think that this is a really interesting parallel that you can draw between tourism in Nepal and also sustainability, because sustainability builds loyalty with your travelers. I'm very action-oriented, and so I do have 3 resources that I wanted to give a shout out to. This first one is called The Invisible Burden, and it's a really great study that the Travel Foundation just released a couple of months ago, and it's about all of these different things that we're not necessarily thinking about, like the infrastructure of a destination, what the roads look like, what taxes look like, how we can look at an increase in the amount of tourists, but we're not necessarily thinking about all of those underlying costs. So they do a really great job of breaking that down and then saying, here's some action items that you can take from there and continue to improve upon it. Transforming Travel by Jeremy Smith. This is the future of tourism. If you guys want to talk about the circular economy or a regenerative approach, he highlights an incredible amount of amazing resources from around the world and examples of how you're not only having a sustainable approach to your business, but you're also turning it into something that's regenerative. And the last one is our own study. It's called Bringing Sustainable Tourism to the Masses. And what we do is we, at Impact Travel Alliance, we break down the challenges that the industry is currently facing, the potential for sustainable tourism to have a positive impact, and then actionable insights that you can take as a business owner. And as a quick overview of Impact Travel Alliance, so every single organization or person that I have mentioned in my talk today, I did that strategically because they are a part of our global community around the world. We represent more than 20,000 members across all different parts of the world. In 2018, we hosted more than 80 events. To date, since our launch in 2015, we've hosted more than 250 events. So we're teaching travelers how to spend their money mindfully so that they have a positive impact on a destination. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Luis. Our next speaker is Dr. Joy Shazam. Some of us had listened to her in the another conference last week that she had just come back from climbing Everest then. I still remember that occasion that we had all these snow-burned faces around. So Dr. Joy Shazam is the first Lebanese women mountaineer attempting to complete the Explorer's Grand Slam by claiming the highest summit in each of the 7 continents around the world and reaching the 2 poles. And she did it. And she did all that, and the Mount Everest is the last one for her to complete her journey. So with the successful ascent of the Mount Everest, she has broken another record by being the first Lebanese woman mountaineer to climb over 25 mountains around the world. Dr. Azam will have made history for being the second woman in the world to complete the Explorer's Grand Slam. I wish I also could have done that. Thank you. It's yours, come, madam.
I will, okay, start. So, good afternoon, everyone. I will be light as a mountaineer and fast, hopefully, like I came back from Everest. So, this guy in 1953 was the first to climb Everest, Sir Edmund Hillary. And other than the famous quotes that he has, one of them was like, "Why Everest?" And he just replied, "Because it's there." And he had the right to do it because he's the pioneer. But when we see all these people, why do you think they are climbing? Tell me. Let's shake it. Why all these people are climbing? Because it's there. This was Edmund Hillary. Because it's their dream, passion, dream. They love it. Yeah. All these have, all this stuff you are thinking of and you name it. But also because it's accessible. Because today, Mount Everest has a rope, a fixed rope where you clip and you are safe, between brackets. And that's why we have this piste, as we call it in French, of mountaineers going. Like, you can feel they are waiting in front of, you think you are waiting in front of the Colosseum or the Louvre or the Taj Mahal, right? So I can say they are the high altitude tourists, and there's a problem here. Let's go back. Why I am here? First, like 2 weeks ago, like 2 Thursdays, I was standing on top of the world, and I just, come back like 10 days ago. And while coming back on, like specifically, I was on the 23rd of May on top of the world, and 25th, I was going down through the icefall, and it's like one of the most dangerous part. And it called my attention one empty bottle of Sprite dancing inside of the melting water of the icefall. And this was like for me, it was like a call for action. And that's why today I'm standing with you. And I really would like to thank Sir Sunil Sakya for having me here with you. So I climbed like 6 years and a half ago, sorry. I decided to climb, oh, I can't come back with this? I'm sorry, I went very fast. So, 6 years and a half ago, I put this map of the world, and I said, this is my dream, and I want to climb the highest summit in each continent. And I just did last week. These, now I should go. So this is Mount Elbrus, the highest in Europe, Carsten's Pyramid for Oceania, Kilimanjaro in Africa, Aconcagua, the highest in South America, Denali for North America, Vincennes in Antarctica, and Mount Everest here in Nepal, Asia. So my other background is I have a PhD in landscape and environment. So I'm in between these two worlds of academically, and I go actually and climb these mountains and experience these landscapes. So I will just go through like a few, because we don't have a lot of time, the best practices I saw, I experienced on other mountains. Let's start with Denali, for example. They have a very, very well-preserved mountain and pristine landscape because they already have a management plan implanted. Like they are, for example, the waste. I will go really into small details just to make it more real as a climber. Zero waste. When you arrive to the mountain, they give you the wag bags and you have to bring them back. Or not, you will have a fine. You have to pay a fine. There's these regulations that make climbers do it, you know, and follow the guidelines. Aconcagua, the same. We pay the permit and we have to bring back all our waste. So, like, can you imagine at 6,000 meters after climbing the summit, you come back to Cholera camp and you have to bring all the waste with you. So it's like a plus load, but we do it. Why? Because also there's this regulation, and if not, we will not have our certificate that we climbed the mountain actually, and another fine to pay. Vincennes, one of the most pristine mountains around the world. Like even, I mean, I will share this with you. We have a hole, designated hole, where we have to pee. Just like not, you can't go and pee anywhere. I'm sorry, this is the climber life, and this is what these high altitude tourists, this is how they ruin these pristine landscape by, you know, these small details. This is Union Glacier, Antarctica. So all the climbers come here to start, you know, going to the pole or going to climb Vincennes or other mountains. So it is super well organized and planned, and you can't like even put your tent anywhere. There's a designated point where to like put your tent. But for sure, like there's nothing like nothing is perfect, right? Like even in Antarctica, like there's this pollution they create on. They say it's like zero waste and we don't pollute, but still, these planes are really working all day there. Arriving to Everest, as I have 2 minutes more. So Everest, are you ready to climb with me, Everest? I will take you on a tour. Put your crampons, guys. Let's go. So, base camp. To get to base camp, you need like 10 days. It's beautiful. We go through villages, and maybe most of, like a lot of you guys here, you did it before. So, you know, you get to base camp and it's really a pristine place, but it's our home for like 6 weeks. So for sure, there's, I mean, it's used. It's a used land, so you can imagine. But this year, I really observed that they are really taking care of Everest Base Camp, and it's clean. This is the Khumbu Icefall. This is where you have to pass through. It's a really dangerous part, as you can see, to get to Camp 1. Camp 1, like the climbers don't stay a lot of time in Camp 1. And then Camp 2, it's more populated, and people like the high tourist climbers stay more, a few nights there. Camp 3, to really show you how steep it is to climb the Lhotse face in order to get to these dots up in, I don't know if you can see it here. This is Camp 3. This is where it is. And then Camp 4. We will talk about Camp 4. Continuing to the summit, this is the summit ridge, and we are faced with reality. Everybody, I think, heard of what happened 10 days ago, 2 weeks ago. So what about this reality? What are you gonna do about it, right? I'm not here to just nag, but to think positively all together. Arriving to the summit, this is me taking a selfie. I couldn't really take the selfie with the summit. So this overcrowded Everest is really eliminating the uniqueness and the spiritual feeling you feel as a climber when you get to a summit. Honestly, I didn't. I was like, oh, there are a lot of crowd, and maybe on other smaller mountain, I felt this, you know, arriving to the summit. So we have to think about like solution about this, what to do. Welcome to Camp 4. I will not stay a long time on, like, as you can see, there's a trash here. It was a shock for me. But let's go to the solutions. Solutions. What to do? We as community, every one of us who's, you know, sitting here, media, specialists, climbers, Sherpas, I think every one of us should go and do something about it. In my opinion, there's like 4 things we have to focus on. The access management, we have to create really a management plan for this. The climber experience, work like not accept any climber to climb Everest. For example, so I was accepted to Denali. I had to fill like 4 or 5 applications to climb Denali in North America and Alaska. It wasn't the case for Everest. Training and awareness for the climbers, the guides, and the Sherpas for how to protect and you know, come back with their waste, zero waste, and protect the mountain. And for sure, self-responsibility. I will go fast through this. There's a lot of declaration about this, and we can, you know, work like as an international community on this, but it's not like being implemented. I am doing an ongoing research, and I started with asking the guides, like the really experienced guides, what do they think about this situation? And actually, one of the really positive things that few years ago, base camp was, there was like more trash at the base camp than today. For example, just to go more positive. So there's some work is going, and the Sherpas are really cleaning as much as they can. So when we talk about responsibility, I am taking the responsibility. You remember that bottle of empty Sprite called me to create an initiative to clean Camp 2 and 4 next year. So I started to look for help and the help of each one of you would be great. You can, we can talk up after the presentation. So the plan is to come back next year with a plan and clean Camp 2 and Camp 4. And I will leave you with this quote, Buddha. Pay no attention to the faults of others, things done or left undone by others. Consider only what by oneself is done or left undone. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Joyce. Now I want to open the floor for a few questions and observations. If you have any to any of the speakers today, please identify yourself and also be specific to address whom you are going to referring to for the answer. Now the floor is open. Yeah, please. Anybody to volunteer? Here? There are two I saw. It's here. Yeah, but yeah.
Thank you. I have a question for Ms. Nancy Rivers. Thank you for explaining a lot about your efforts in the airline industry. But as a traveler myself, but not in the airline industry, I've had the experience of seeing a girl in an airport once, not knowing what to do. And I was wondering if you could give one practical piece of advice, what we could do when we don't have access to authority, or where should we go if we see this? Thank you.
Well, one thing you can do, any of you that are a passenger, anybody, is to download our Tip Line app. And it's Tip Line app. It's free on Google and iTunes, and it has access to the numbers that you need to call in 190 countries. So that's and if you see any indicators, it also is like a library of human trafficking information with links to many of the trafficking NGOs and latest news, et cetera, and the indicators.
Yeah.
This is not a question, but my suggestion to Nancy again. See, in Nepal also, we have this problem of women trafficking. And you probably know Anuradha Koirala. Have you heard her name or have you met her in Kathmandu? Anuradha Koirala. Yeah, I'm
hoping to meet with them tomorrow.
Okay, she is, she's very famous, and she is also winner of Woman of the Year. CNN had awarded her. And she is doing very, very fantastic work in this country, like you have been doing in the whole world, I would say. So I would request you to kindly meet her and share your experiences and see what you and the Anuradha Koirala both of you can do for this country. Thank you.
Yes, and we're so excited. If you can help us get a meeting, we're trying to meet with many of the NGOs that are working here in Nepal to support them. Also, I wanted to say these bracelets that we wear as part of our this is our uniform that we wear when we train, are made by trafficking survivors. And there's a red bead on each of the bracelets that represents the survivors, and we try to pay them a fair wage and give them hope. We're looking for ways to get them employment, get them training, et cetera. And then we want to start working in India, where many of the Nepalese girls are actually going, in Mumbai and Calcutta.
Okay, I think I can fix an appointment for you with her.
Great. Thank you so much.
Dr. Joyce, Nancy, all of you there, you're our heroes. It's more of a statement, and it's amazing. It's incredible to have you all here, and we feel elated, we feel blessed. Do we all agree? Yes. Thank you very much. I wanted to say this. Joyce will be supporting you. Nancy will be supporting you. All of you there will be supporting you. This is a word. Agree, Chairman?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any more? Yeah, there he is. My friend from Ireland, Republic of Ireland.
Yes, Shane come in from Republic of Ireland. This is for Joyce. I'm an adventure specialist in Ireland, but I also teach youngsters in the adventure industry. The question is, do you see a future for adventure activities for the likes of teenagers increasing or decreasing over, say, the next 10 years? Do you see that it's getting easier access to adventure activities, or do you think the education system across different countries is kind of squeezing adventure activities outside platforms of education?
Hello. Wow. I will talk just about Lebanon and what I saw, around the world. I think it's increasing. I'm saying it bluntly for sure, not like, but because for sure it's like a trend. Going outdoor and doing these adventures is a trend, and you look cooler when you have this picture on Instagram doing one of these extreme activities. So for sure it's increasing, and it's good for our youngsters. Personally, through my mountaineering project, I'm using it to have to have a voice and to work on different levels, especially with teenagers, to go more to the mountains and use, the trails, especially in Lebanon. And this really helps them to have more discipline in their life and, stay away from drugs, for example. So it's, I think it's increasing and it's good. And we have to even use it more in our education system. Thank you.
I don't see any hands raised, so let me try to conclude what we achieved today. Galusainj, for sharing your experiences with us, and also the story of this Saldan Sherpa, who is a responsible Sherpa, a champion in your words, who could lead the responsible trekking in the mountains. You highlighted us by saying the meaning makes business sense, and the operators should be able to listen to the clients, your clients, what their choices are. Meaning, through great design, the travel plan got to be very well designed, and the manifesto got to be there. And among many other things, you also touched upon the distribution of benefits to the local communities and to the broader level, so that everybody could own the tourism project, and then it becomes a success. Nancy Rivers, you shared with us with your great work of Airline Ambassadors International, and there was a lot of enthusiasm from the audience also on that. So you had made us very clear about how the flight attendants could make a scrutiny, gently, politely, trying to identify if somebody is being trafficked. And also, you had been instrumental in bringing out the legislations with the American government and others as well. So the figures that you showed to us, that in reality check, many girls are being trafficked, flying every day in almost every flight. That's a very scary note altogether. Dr. Sudha Sharma, you made us very clear about what are the health and safety required in the destinations, and what are the facilities available, especially in Nepal. The travel medicine is gaining ground in Nepal, and you also run down with the current issues and suggested responses that the concerned authorities have to take over. Though the rescue guideline on rescue, search and medication and monitoring is there with the government, it has not been implemented to the satisfaction of the operators or the travelers as well. Kelly Ruiz, you also had been very instrumental to make us explain all about your experiences, and you also try to highlight those who do good to environment, labor, and other things, they will succeed better. And yes, you are quite right on that. What you reap, what you sow, that you reap, that we heard this morning as well. Tourism and travelers, for receiving countries like us, these are always a benefit, not a burden, and that's where the point that you also try to highlight upon. Dr. Joyce, we were excited to hear from you about your experiences of all those 7 summits and also the visit to 2 poles, and you mentioned that to us very well. Your prescription or suggestions, the key topics to be addressed about the access management, climbers, the experiences, don't give the permit to each and everyone who are not that knowledgeable and experienced ones, and training and awareness, which is very much required as they are going to go for a lifetime difficult job. Though they have a dream, if they are not efficient enough, they should be scrutinized. And the self-responsibility. Yes, the responsibility only can bring us, because you cannot enter into the mindsets of everybody. People have to make themselves prepared to do good to the environment and also the following climbers, so that you don't pollute the mountains. Kathmandu Declaration is there, but it's not very well implemented, you very rightly said, and that's where the concerned authorities have to have their eye upon. So we had all 5 excellent presenters today, and we enjoyed every minute of our stay here. Thank you very much, all 5 of you. It was very wonderful. Now I hand over to you, guys.
Request all the speakers to remain in the dais. All superheroes don't wear capes, because all the speakers in the panel are in fact superheroes, wouldn't you say? They're protectors. Protectors of the mountain, protector of trails, protector of women, protector of tourists, protector of tourism, and the moderator himself. I mean, I salute the hero in all of you.
And also special thank you to our moderator, Mr. Dipender Puristakal, for keeping everything right on time. And also thank you to all of our speakers for cooperating for that. Now, to honor them, all of them, with the token of appreciation, may I please call upon stage Mr. Wang Shun Hua, the Vice Chairman of Pacific Asia Travel Association Headquarters. First of all, we would like to start with Mr. Galileo Santos. So, round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Secondly, Miss Nancy Rivert. Dr. Sudha Sharma. Miss Kelly Lewis.
Fan following.
And finally, Dr. Joyce Zhang. And the moderator of the session, Mr. Dipendra Puristakal.
Thank you all, our superhero panel. Thank you. You may yes, you may leave now. Thank you. The next plenary session is on digital transformation and new trends in tourism and hospitality. But before we begin the session, I just want to ask you, Anish, how's life going for you?
Well, my life, you can just check on my Instagram, ma'am. You can just find it on all of my feeds.
On Insta?
Yes, on Instagram.
Okay. Well, there's another quick question for you then. Are you sleeping with your mobile?
No, that's not my type, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Okay. Well, do you know that 72% sleep next to their mobile?
Executive Organizer, Pata Nepal Chapter.
Yet, we don't even know the person sitting next to us. Moving on to the next speaker. He was looking for momos, holding his beer, and he greeted me with the biggest smile. A person who loves to talk and isn't shying away from it. He's actually the third person in HTM who said traveling is not about the place, it is about the people.
And he is Mr. Paul Prongkern. He is the Director Communication and External Affairs at Pacific Asia Travel Association in Bangkok, Thailand. He serves as the senior spokesperson for the association. He works to enhance Pata's public image through various media outlets, and he's also an MC like us and has done it MC for many different programs organized by the association. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Paul Prongkern for the digital transformation and new trends in hospitality and tourism.
Thank you very much. How about a big round of applause for our MCs, Rito and Anish? I think they're doing a great job. You guys still here? It's the last session of the day. You guys still awake? You guys seem fairly quiet. You guys still happy? Hello? Anybody out there? Okay. We're at the final plenary session of the day, digital transformation and new trends in tourism and hospitality. I'm going to keep this fast and loose. I know we're kind of running over time. So before we start going into the session, I'd like to invite my fellow speakers onto the stage. So please welcome to the stage the president of the Professional Travel Bloggers Association, Ms. Yannick Hansen. Big round of applause. As well as the founder of Lydia Escapes Travel, Ms. Lydia Yang. And last and certainly not least, the brand ambassador, travel designer, and tour operator for Camera Voyages, Mr. William Vasquez. So, the final plenary session of the day is digital transformation and new trends in tourism and hospitality. Digital transformation in tourism and hospitality is a new phenomenon that has completely transfigured traditional business practices and delivery of services, minimizing the intangibility of products and services. This session will shed light on contemporary trends, nuances, and practices with use of technology in travel and tourism, emphasizing on opportunities and prospects of its implication for tourism among the Himalayan nations, including Nepal, which is undoubtedly one of the most promising destinations in the world, by further enhancing the value for its stakeholders. So our first speaker has been working in the field of marketing for over 17 years. In addition to being the president of the PTBA, she's also the founder and editor of the adventure travel blog, letsgetlost.no. She's also the co-founder of Nordic TB, a collective of travel influencers in the Nordic region, and works as a sales manager for Travel Dudes. She'll be talking about the art of creating natural ambassadors for travel brand and destinations. Ladies and gentlemen, Ms. Yannick Hansen.
Hello, everybody. Sorry for being a bit late on stage, but out of my control. I'm going to talk to you about how to create natural ambassadors for travel brands and destinations. And we all know that it's important to have ambassadors that can talk positive about you without necessarily being paid for everything that they say. So you can have ambassadors that are being paid, and you can have ambassadors that are being paid and then turn into natural ambassadors that really can enhance your brand and talk your stories, tell your stories to the world. So the most important thing is to locate the right ambassador for your brand. And it's a jungle out there, and there's a lot of content, and we're talking about digital content. That is, it can seem like a jungle just to locate, like who's talking about me? What are they saying? Is it positive? Is it negative? And who is really supporting us? So who is a natural ambassador? It could be a blogger, it could be a journalist, it could be somebody who lives in your town and loves your brand, loves your destination. But I'm going to talk about the natural ambassadors that actually has an impact, that has a voice out in the digital world. The biggest problem, especially with destination and also in travel brands, is that there's a constant change of players. So social media managers are usually there 1.5, maybe 2 years. And when you just at the moment that you get to know everybody that is positive about you, then the person moves on. So they go to a different position, and all the knowledge and all the connections that you had are lost. So the first is to be more organized. So to identify your natural ambassadors, you need to go online. You need to search, like what has been said about us. You can put up Google alerts for your brand name or for your keywords or for your hashtags, so that you will have everything that is said about you right into your mailbox. I really can't see that. No, it's okay. So when you've done that, like when you gather all the information about who is talking about us, who's talking about Nepal, or who is talking about my hotel chain, then you need to know, like, what are they saying? Is it positive? Is it negative? Is it something that we can work together on? Is this content that we want to share with our possible visitors? So make a list, and I know this is work, but make a list of all the mentions that you feel are positive for your brand or for your destination. And that is so you can follow up on that content. Because travel bloggers and content creators that is online, they keep their articles updated. It's good for Google traffic to have updated articles. And if they update articles about events or about travel in Nepal with your help, then it's a win-win situation. So you have identified the positive ambassadors, or the people that are speaking positively about you, and you help them to get better content. So you get more hits, and you get more visitors, hopefully. And also, don't forget that also online ambassadors are offline ambassadors. I'm quite often being interviewed in television and in radio and in magazines or newspapers, and I talk about the destinations that goes close to my heart, the ones that I really like, the ones that I work with closely. So it's quite important also that the online people creating lots of great content, they are also offline. They're also speaking about you when they meet friends, or they're speaking about you in a newspaper article, like where is the best place to go for 2020? Why shouldn't that be Nepal? It's also important that you have someone in your organization that can track social media mentions when it happens. And I know it sounds like a lot of work, but it really works. When I fly KLM, I always tweet. I always tweet, and I add the hashtag and the mention of the account of KLM, and I'm saying, I'm going from here to there, and I'm looking forward to a nice flight, they always reply. Every time I tweet, they reply after 2 minutes, 3 minutes. It makes me talk about KLM here, and I'm not paid for it. And it also connects me to their brand, because I know that I'm taken care of. They're saying, have a really nice flight, hope you enjoy your destination, hope you enjoy your vacation. And it bonds me to KLM, even though I am not paid. Also with the real-time follow-up, I was in a small German city, having a coffee break, sitting, doing some work, and then I tweeted or put up on Instagram stories something about the city. And within 2 minutes, the social media manager of the city replies to me, saying, welcome to our city. I represent the tourism board. Is there anything we can do for you? Like, do you want to go to museums? She offered me some free tickets. And it's not the value of it. I can pay for my own visit to a museum, but it's also to being seen. So whenever I'm in that city, I know it's a positive thing. I can contact them, and we already have a connection. If she leaves her job, that connection is gone, unless you make a list of who you want to work with. Identify the people that are doing something positive for your brand without necessarily being there as a paid guest. And it's also about, there's a lot of bloggers here now. They have been, and content creators, videographers, photographers, and they all have social media accounts. They have been creating a lot of great content about Nepal. I haven't seen that much interaction. Maybe it's too fresh, but if you take all that content, like we are using the same hashtags, so it should be easy to track us. So take all that content, hashtag HTM 2019, and look at all the great content that is created. The brands, the hotels, the safari companies engage with the content. Show that you appreciate it. It's like we're having an online conversation. I see that if I tag my hotel and they are happy and they're replying and they're putting them on their story, there's an immediate connection. And then maybe later on we can work together. So it's important also to react to everything that happens with your brand or with your destination, with your hashtags. Just engage with it. And it's also about staying in touch with the content creators. As I said, we create a lot of written content and a lot of social media content, but the written content is so much better when it's updated. It's so much better when I have all the facts right, and I have the right dates if I'm talking about an event, and the date changes every year. So keep in touch with them that you know are writing positive about your brand, and feed them with the right information. Maybe invite them for another stay. If it's been through 2-3 years ago, invite them for a new collaboration. So you can actually make a small marketing campaign together, because you know they already love your brand or your destination. Yeah, that's a tiny watchdog. So if you work with content creators, not everything is positive. It's a free world. The people can write whatever they want, but if you work closely with them and if you listen to them, they can actually be a resource for you to develop your own brand, develop your own services. We've been working with Latvia. We had a road trip campaign there. So we had 4 different road trips throughout Latvia, because everyone connects only Riga. So we wanted to explore, and we helped them develop new products. We helped them develop new routes. We had one theme which was culinary. We had one theme that was nature, and we helped the tourism board to create new products for real travelers that wants to come there. So we got nominated in the World Travel Awards as not a social media campaign, but the best development project in tourism for Europe. Nominated, we didn't win it. But it says something that you can also use the natural ambassadors that you have in your region or in your online platforms that to help you create new products. If you've been working with influencers and in different campaigns, we don't usually see the results. Like, we can see the traffic, we can see how many people we forwarded to your website or to your booking site, or how many people read the article, but we don't know the actual return of investment when it comes to number of visitors coming. Did it go up? Did it go down? Was there lots of hotel bookings based on our articles? So if you feed us with information, we can also use that as examples to work even better with you for the next round. I know most influencers will provide you with statistics if you worked with a paid campaign together. Not all, but most will. And for the collective that I run, we write a 34-page report that says everything. There has all the links to social media, all the links to the articles. So it should be easy for you also to just copy-paste everything. And there you have your follow-up sheet. So you can go in, you can read the articles, and you can follow up if there's anything that is not up to date, or if there's anything that is misinformation. You can come back to us, and that's the beauty with digital. You can change things. If you haven't worked with influencers, it's like, it seems like, wow, where should I start? Like, I have no idea how to work with influencers. But it's quite easy also to get connected. I'm not sure how many bloggers and vloggers and YouTubers that are in the audience right now. Is there anyone here still? Stand up. Okay, guys, look at them. These are the people that you need to talk to get started working together with bloggers and influencers and content creators. Yeah, this is just short things. If you attend travel trade shows, not just here, but around the world, host meetups with influencers and bloggers and get to know them, and start that conversation where it says, like, what are you writing about? What is your specialty? Are you into adventure or culture or food? And then find a way to align your goals, because it's very important to have goals. It's not just working with influencers and content creators, it's having a goal for the collaboration. I'm just gonna jump. So basically, if you want to create natural ambassadors that will always speak positively about your brand, even though it's between paid campaigns or it's between collaborations, then you should see it as a partnership. Like, we're not after a one-night stand. We're after a relationship. So it's important to see us as a marketing department on the loose. So you can actually work with us as a part of your marketing. And yeah, I think it would be really a strong relationship if we can align the goals and what we want to do. So this is my last slide, and I hope you got some inspiration to talk to the content creators that are here or other content creators that more fit your brand in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Yannick. So, our next speaker is independent digital marketing consultant and trainer for top international travel brands, helping clients and hotels with their online purchase journeys e-commerce, and social media optimization. On the side, she also manages her own travel site, Lydiascapes, speaking on the best tips to grow your online bookings and awareness as a hotelier or tour operator. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Ms. Lydia Young.
We are all on a journey. Some of us choose the easy road and walk on flat grounds, while some of us rather climb mountains and walk on snow. Some of us are on the journey to the next destination now, so I'm very happy that a lot of you are still here at this time at 5:30 p.m. and are not making your journey to the next dinner location. So thank you very much. So when it comes to a journey, we are starting from one place and we have a destination in mind. So similarly, every online customer that you engage with, you yourselves are online customers, you have a destination in mind. And you go from one spot to the other just to fulfill whatever you're looking for, whether you're looking for a holiday destination, a trip, purchase of something, there is always a goal in mind. So like a train ride is the online customer journey from one destination to the other in a straight row? I'm afraid not, because an online customer journey is very much like a soccer match. So in line with UEFA Champions League that's just ended, can I just see who are soccer fans around here? Ah, there you go. So this analogy would relate very much to you, because very much the online customer is like a soccer game. You have one goal, and that goal is to get into the goal post, right? And there are many, many players in your game. So each player is very much like a channel where the ball is the customer and they're getting from one channel to the other just to get to the final goal, which is to get your customer to book with you. However, we all know that in a soccer game, the ball doesn't travel from the goalkeeper straight into the goalposts. It actually goes one big round from player to player, very near to the goalpost, and then again it goes back to the other end of the field. So a customer is very much like that. When we are doing research on what to purchase, which hotel to stay, which is the best Nepal travel agent to do the Everest Base Camp trek, we are going from point 1 to point 2, from Google search to Facebook to look at your friends' photos. Then you go into TripAdvisor to read reviews. You go into OTAs to look at the hotels, and then you go back to Google to look some more for more information. And you're going round and round in circles, and it's never ever one straight path to a purchase or online booking. So as brands like you and I, travel agents, hotels, it's very frustrating because we can never anticipate where the customer or when they are going to book. So an example here is of a girl called Felicia. She's an example of a lady who is looking to book a Mauritius hotel. Testing. Ah, yes. Yeah, so Felicia is looking to go on a honeymoon to Mauritius, and she's doing research. And the research took her 7 months before she finally made a booking for her holiday. And you can see here, this is an example of a real customer where there are 735 touch points where they get from one channel to the other, research some information, then they get distracted and they end up looking at cat videos on YouTube. And then they go back to researching about the holiday, and they end up booking a business trip, and then they get back to working on their holiday booking. So a customer is perpetually going around the channel and searching for information before they make a final booking. So every single customer is so complicated, and there is such a different purchase journey in each and every one of them. So there are so many customers, and yet there are so many profiles. So here we have a few personas, and I'm sure some of you in the audience might relate to some of them. We have all kinds of people who are coming to Nepal. The budget travelers who want to find a great deal. You have your luxury travelers who wants to take helicopter rides to see Everest. Or you have your students who have no money, but they want to do everything. So there are all kinds of profiles, and they have different search behaviors. So how exactly can we find the right customer? So just pulling out some data, 2018 numbers from Sojourn Travel Trends. A very great platform if you're trying to find out data about travel brands trends. Okay, so if you see 2018's data, 47% of travel brands spend their money on digital, and that percentage alone, would you consider it high or low? Out of the 27%, Facebook and Instagram is getting 23% of your digital spend. So people are starting to depend a lot on Facebook and Instagram to find new customers, to try to get them to come and book with you or stay with you. So we have all these customers and all these platforms. How can you engage with them at the right time, at the right channel, and at the right country? Many, many, many ways. So the customer can find you, but there are so many different ways to be present on the online platform. So here are just a few options that you have, from search engine optimization to email marketing to social media, or even to YouTube videos. There are many, many ways that we go about trying to find information, and you as a brand or a hotel are trying to be present so that they can find you. And not just all these platforms. There are also so much competition out there with Booking.com, with airlines, Skyscanner, Google. Everybody is fighting to get the attention of the customer. So you have to make sure you're present throughout the journey of a customer so that you are the first one on their mind when they are looking to book something. So one quick thing that any brand can do is to really understand your SEO performance online as a travel tour operator or hotel, because if your competition is higher than you in terms of search rates for certain words, then there is something you need to work on. So, for example, if a customer is looking to go to Mount Rinjani, this is one of the biggest mountains in Indonesia. When they search Mount Rinjani climbing, the first article they read is like, oh, somebody has gone to the trek, and they click on it. So here is actually, like, for example, my blog. I wrote an article about Mount Rinjani many years ago when I hiked it. So if you have your article or a blogger who wrote about your trek with you on first page of Google, it pushes your opportunity to get a direct booking from the website much higher. So this is the power of really working with content creators and bloggers, because if they are strong and they have good SEO, you get free publicity on first page of Google. So something closer to home will be Nepal. If you search Nepal hiking travel agent costs, for example, how many of them are brands? How many of them are blogs? So instead of focusing on you promoting yourself, you should be also focusing on people promoting you and appearing on page 1 of Google. So know your objective, know which channel that you want to reach, and then find a way to measure it. Because measuring it is the most important, right? You don't want to give free trips to bloggers, and at the end of the day, you don't know whether there's any benefits. Let's go deeper just into one channel, which is social media. So I focus a lot on social media because prior to coming out full-time as a freelance digital consultant, I'm actually a hotelier for many years. So I do a lot of digital marketing and social media for the hotels that I take care of. So if we talk about social media, a lot of people use Facebook and Instagram. We discussed it. And what do they use them for? The top chart we see here, oops, sorry. What did I do? the top one that we see here in the first row is actually targeting new audience. So we go to Facebook because we are looking for new people. We are trying to find audiences that we cannot reach. If we're trying to grow the Singapore market or we're trying to grow the Hong Kong market, we are trying to reach them by doing Facebook advertising. So this is the strongest reason people use Facebook, and this is one thing that I want to focus on today. So after you decide that you want to use Facebook as a platform, you need to make sure you know how to do your audience targeting well. We can't get the whole world to come and visit you or stay with you, but if you know exactly who you want to target, then you can make sure that you spend every single dollar of your marketing spend to find the people who are actually going to come and stay with you. So once you kind of know who you want to target, which country, what kind of people, what age group, that's when you create your ads. And this is where social media, Facebook advertising comes into play. So there are all kinds of Facebook ad formats out there where you have to experiment. Like it's me and my team, we have always been trying out different ad formats to see what works better for this brand, what works better for hotels, what works better for travel agents. So you have video ads, you have post-link posts, you have carousel ads. This is a carousel ad, for example. So you don't actually have to know exactly what formats they are, but you need to at least have somebody who's running your ads for you who knows what they're doing, because different ads has different objectives and different outcomes. So after you run an ad, it's not the end of the world. It's not like, oh, I'm done. You actually need to do remarketing. So remarketing is basically people who have first clicked onto your post, they like your video, they commented, and they tag their boyfriend, or they share it on their page. You want to remarket a second ad to them, and with an offer, or you have a special promotion to get them to come and book with you. So the second touch point is the most important, to actually get people to come and actually consider your brand, because the first time that they engage with you is purely dreaming or aspiring to go. But if you give them an offer that is very attractive, they will come. So after you have advertised, you don't want to just leave it there. You need to actually crack and read your data to see whether there's any real results. So if your hotel or your travel agent has somebody who is well-versed with social media or website, it's perfect because they can actually look at the data and see whether what they have done worked. However, if you don't have such a person, it's time you get somebody to help you look at this information and help to churn out the right direction for your advertising. If not, you're just throwing money down your drain. And it's not just Facebook that gives you info. Google also gives you info. So go to Google Analytics, look at your data. Do you have increased traffic from a certain market? Do you have more visits on a certain page from this country that you're advertising? So there are a lot of ways to really see whether what you're doing actually works. And it is not wasted money if you know what you're doing. So on a final note, I wanted to draw an analogy with something that I've recently done, which would be the Everest Base Camp trek. I came back from it 3 days ago, and hence today I'm wearing my hiking boots that I was wearing for the past 11 days, just to make a point that I'm in Himalayas. So, on a final note, a customer user journey experience is very much like a hike. We need to know where is our goal. We have a direction and a place to head towards. So if you have a customer that you're trying to reach, or you have a booking you're trying to create, you need to know very clearly who and what you want. Along the way through the journey of a customer, there are many transitions, just like a hike. There is many bridges that you have to cross, and it is from one village to the other. So if you're not careful and there is no transition, your customer will be lost because they will fall down into the river or something. Okay, so transiting from one channel to the other on an online experience is very important. Also, along the way, watch out for distractions or danger, because if there's falling rock or there is cracks on the floor, you will lose the customer. So similarly, on a customer online experience, everybody around is competition. If you do not make sure you're careful to follow the customer through, your competitor will get you. So be very careful to make sure that you're always engaging with your customer all the time so that they don't fall through the cracks. And if you get everything right, you follow the customer from point one to the end, you will get to your goal. Thank you.
Thank you, Lydia. So our last speaker is, many of you will have remembered him from yesterday. He's a professional photographer based in New York City. He's traveled the world creating advertising campaigns for Fortune 500, Fortune 100 companies. In addition, his humanitarian work has documented stories on health issues in the developing world and natural disasters. His company, Camera Voyages, provides photo, adventure, and cultural tours to Bhutan, Cuba, India, and Nepal. Speaking about digital technology from the traveler's perspective, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. William Vasquez.
Testing. Okay. I want to thank everyone for sticking for this late. I know everybody wants a drink. It's happy hour somewhere. So I'll try to make this quick, and I'll put up some pretty pictures, and we can talk. This device right here is the most important thing that you should be the most aware of. It's everyone's life. It's how they document everything. So for a traveler's perspective, what do you think people want from this? What do you think they do with this? They take pictures. They post reviews. They put things on Yelp, positive, negative, Expedia, Traveler, TripAdvisor. So as tour operators, hoteliers, ambassadors, you name it, everything has to be kind of geared to what these people are going to do with this device. So, but at the end of the day, it's all about telling stories. It's not so much about the machine itself. Everyone wants to tell a story. Everyone wants to sort of be, let me see if I can get this to work. Maybe. Point it that way. Is that my first picture? Is that my last picture? Oh, here's my first picture. Okay. So, everyone wants to do basically what? Basically be witness to something. They want to document that. They want to take pictures that make the familiar look exciting, look interesting. So you come to a place like Nepal or India, and this place is full of everything, all of that, culture. By the way, these are all my pictures. This is my perspective of how I travel as a photographer, as a traveler, as a tour operator. So I sort of have a unique perspective in the sense of what my clients expect and what I kind of expect from when I'm traveling. So at the end of the day, a lot of it has to do with just capturing what's around you. All these pictures are kind of random, so it keeps it interesting in that way. So this is from Kalapatar up on Everest Base Camp. So it's all about sort of taking something, and you have your device, taking your pictures, putting it on social media, sharing it with your friends, putting it on Facebook. If you really want to make how should we say, a review on TripAdvisor. Oh, this is great, this is that. It basically helps people sort of get to understand where they're traveling, who they're seeing, what they're doing. And at the end of the day, it's really just interacting with people. The technology is just technology. It's all about that interaction, what you see with someone. It's all about who you're talking about, enjoying the moment, seeing things, experiencing either together or virtually. The machine and the technology is just a device. But at the same time, as somebody who, as consumers, or as people that provide experiences, you have to understand that it's all seeing all the time. People want to do selfies. People want to be in the stories. People want to create stories. It's our job as professionals in tourism to help people see these stories, which helps our brands become better, become stronger. Interacting with people. At the end of the day, it's all what people want to do. Everyone wants to basically make it some sort of a connection with someone. Technology helps you spread that around. Just sort of taking these little moments and sort of sharing something, it makes people sort of understand how other people live in the world. So it's important for us to be able to sort of show that, create experiences that are amazing and just out of this world on the way to Everest Base Camp. This is here in Nepal, people who are women that make gloves. You find beauty in everything. And this is really just, some of these pictures are basically shot with an iPhone. The device has nothing to do with how it's good or bad or what makes it better. It's really about sharing a moment. talking to people, taking that device, and then you're putting it on Facebook, Instagram, tagging people, sharing this. It's all about storytelling. Your fabulous Himalayas. These little Buddhist monks, they're interesting. But so, you know, technology is really just something that's, I always think that people sort of feel that it's always so important. Oh, I have to have this or this technology. People don't care. At the end of the day, it's not really about that. It's about taking cool pictures of things. It's about sharing stuff with other people. It's about using these devices to help you connect with other people on the world. This is on the way to Faram Namche Bazaar. So the telephone, it's actually more of a computer that happens to be a telephone, is the device that you should all be aware of. That's the most important device for everyone. So as a tour operator, as a hotelier, it's what do you do to create these situations so people, your clients, can go and create these kinds of pictures? Because really, I mean, it's not hard. I mean, you just got to sort of wait for the moment. Capture things. You see that sort of moment, and that makes things romantic, interesting. People want to sort of share that. Ooh, what was that? Where is that? Why do I want to be there? You know, and also showing people in a more human way, not just sort of props in a movie. Showing texture, interesting things, beautiful things. This is in Himalayan country in Nepal. This was after the earthquake. I came to have tea with some people up in a village in the mountains, and it was pouring rain outside, and of course, there's no lights. Somebody turns on their telephone. Someone else turns on their telephone. Someone else turns on their telephone. All of a sudden, you're having a party with half the village to come and see what's going on. And tea is served, and popcorn is made, and all of a sudden, you're really just having this amazing, delicious moment and it's really, what made that happen? The telephone, technology. Simple thing, the light. It's always about, like I was saying, human interaction. Technology helps us bring us closer. It should not take us farther away. And of course, what does everyone want? In the end of the day, is selfies. And what does that mean when you do a selfie? Everyone wants to do selfies. Everyone wants a picture. I don't care what anybody says. Everyone wants to be photographed and look heroic, or look beautiful, or look cool, or do whatever, and doing something awesome. Just like riding a motorcycle through a Royal Enfield through the Himalayas here or up in Kalapatar. See, I am guilty of this. But it also helps personalize your message, technology-wise, to be able to sort of go, oh, wow, that's interesting. He was doing something interesting. It's not about me. It's about what I'm doing or what that person is doing. And so at the end of the day, technology brings us together, brings us closer, but all of us should always be aware if our clients are always going to be doing this, how do we make it better for them to create things that will make us look better? Like visiting Vishnu in the streets of Bombay. Thank you. See, look at that. Did it in less than 10 minutes.
Thank you, William. So we don't have that much time, so I'll leave you guys with just one question. So we're talking about digital marketing a lot here. So in one tweet, 260 characters, what is the one thing that everyone here should take away from your presentation? So I'll start with you.
Easy question. I would think that as you show, like the pictures that you're showing is not typical holiday pictures. It's not the typical traveler that's dotted. Yes, I know. But so if you look at the people that actually are making those pictures and utilize on those kind of share those kind of stories, even though it's like a hotel, people still don't want to only be in your hotel. They want to explore what they can expect in the destination. So even though it's not showing exactly your property or exactly your area, then you can still share and you can still engage with that content that is already there. And I think that's the most important. As you say, like, people want to tell stories. And if the travel industry can utilize that and create a stronger storytelling together with the content creators, it's a win-win.
If I have one short quote, would be follow the customer through the journey. So a lot of times we treat the customer like someone very far away, but they're very human. They're like us. Every single one of us here are customers. So you just need to understand how you think as an individual and as a brand, how you can be real and authentic to follow the customer as they are doing their research. And if you can get the formula right, as complicated as it sounds, as much as the digital world seems very complicated to a lot of us, we just need to get the very simple formula right, which is to follow the customer from the touch point that they engage on, and then at the end of the day, they will eventually come to you. Yeah.
Oh, okay, mine is still working. Okay. I'm not very good at haikus, or Twitter for that matter. I'm a visual person. But I feel, as I was saying, what Janique was talking about, at the end of the day, it's not about the device or the technology. It just facilitates things. It's more about how do you tell a story. Everyone wants to tell a story. Everyone wants to be doing something special, and they want to share that. So it's up to us, to, as Janique was saying, to work together to help make that more effective for us to sort of, as hotelers or tour operators or tourism, to gain something from that. Because it's out there. People are generating this stuff every day, every second, billions and billions of photographs and images. How do you harness that? Is by working together, creating these human interactions in some way, because at the end, it's always about that face-to-face with everyone. Not about the monument, not about the place as much. It's more about that moment and that experience and what they felt. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. A big round of applause for our speakers. I guess they do want us to stay on stage, I assume. Well, actually, last year, I remember you guys, we didn't call it token of appreciation. What did we call it last year? Come on, you remember. We called it the token of love.
Always.
Love again.
What a colorful panel this was. To sum up this panel, I'm going to quote one of the speakers. And she said, "We are not here for a one-night stand, but a relationship. Please meet them after the session."
Round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for all our speakers and our moderator. And yes, now to give them the token of love, I would like to call on stage Mr. Sunil Sakya, Chairman of Pata Nepal Chapter. First of all, I would like to honor Miss Jackie Henson. Miss Lydia Young. Mr. William Vasquez. And finally, our moderator, Mr. Paul Prunken.
Thank you to all our colorful panelists. Now the last, but certainly not the least, the most awaited and interesting session awaits. Now here's a question for all, but for you, Anish. Do you believe in God?
Yes, I do, ma'am. I do very much believe in God, and it's just not me. Everyone from my class believes in God, and we always pray whenever it's the exam times.
Okay.
So yes, we all do believe in God.
All right. Well, I have faith in God and hope God.
He is Mr. Paul Prongkaran.
Rupanand Swami who will be sharing his spiritual journey with us. He will be helped by Ms. Sital Dattani from Australia, who will be his translator. When I met the Swami yesterday, he told me, if I tell you about sugar, even for an hour, you will not be able to understand it. But if I give you some sugar to taste, you will understand it in a second. It's the same with yoga and meditation. Swamiji wants us to taste meditation to understand the sweetness within ourselves. He wants to make this session as experiential as he can. So at the end of his speech, he would request everyone to meditate with him.
Sri Shiv Krupananda Swami is also known as Baba Swami. He is an Indian spiritualist and author. He is a founder of Samarpan Meditation and conducts meditation workshops all around the world. He has set up Yoga Prabha Bharati, a trust in India for the propagation of Samarpan meditation in the world. He has been relentlessly conducting free of cost meditation programs all over the world. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome on stage Sri Shiv Krupananda Swami with his topic, Yoga is not simply Yoga Asana.
गुरुदेव, हम आपसे प्रार्थना करते हैं, कृपया अमृत बरसाइए।
आए हुए सभी पुण्य आत्माओं को मेरा नमस्कार।
My salutations to all pious souls gathered here.
यहाँ आकर आपने हिमालय के बारे में काफ़ी जानकारी प्राप्त की होगी।
Coming here, you must have attained a lot of information about the Himalayas.
विभिन्न शिखरों के बारे में जानकारी प्राप्त की होगी।
You must have received information about the different aspects.
विभिन्न रास्तों के बारे में जानकारी प्राप्त की होगी।
You must have obtained information about the different paths.
सारे दुनिया से यहाँ पे लोग पहाड़ पे चढ़ने के लिए आते हैं।
People from all around come here to climb the mountains.
हिमालय के ऊंचे ऊंचे शिखरों को देखने के लिए आते हैं।
People come to see the high peaks of the mountains.
हिमालय पे घूमने के लिए आते हैं।
They go trekking on the mountains.
लेकिन मैं आज को आपको हिमालय का वो दर्शन कराऊंगा जो दर्शन भीतर का है।
I am here to tell you about the Himalayas, that information that is from within.
आपने कभी सोचा है सारे विश्व में जब कभी किसी को आध्यात्मिक प्यास जगती है वो हिमालय की ओर दौड़ा चला आता है।
Just think about it. Whenever someone has the thirst for spirituality, they often turn towards the Himalayas.
उसका एक ही कारण है, वहाँ खूब भीतर के भाग में कई संत, कई महात्मा सालों से ध्यान कर रहे हैं, मेडिटेशंस कर रहे हैं।
There is one reason for this, because there are many saints and sages who have been meditating in the Himalayas for many years.
उनका आवामंडल, उनका ओरा कई किलोमीटर तक का है।
Their aura spans for many kilometers.
इसी कारण वहाँ पे एक निर्विचार स्थिति है।
And that is why it is easy to obtain a state of thoughtlessness over there.
वो निर्विचार स्थिति में आके मनुष्य आत्म शांति का अनुभव करता है।
When man becomes thoughtless and achieves the state of thoughtlessness,
आपने विभिन्न प्रदूषणों के बारे में सुना होगा, लेकिन वैचारिक प्रदूषण सबसे बड़ा प्रदूषण है।
you must have heard about many forms of pollution, but you may not have heard about thought pollution.
और ये वैचारिक प्रदूषणों के माध्यम से कई जगह हमको तकलीफ होती है, कई जगह हमें परेशानी होती है।
And because of thought pollution, people get many problems and come across many barriers.
और यही कारण है कि शहर से लोग भाग-भाग के शनिवार रविवार को शहर के बाहर चले जाते हैं।
This is the reason why many people run away from cities and go to nature places.
तो वो निर्विचारता का स्थिति, वो शांति का स्थिति हिमालय में प्राप्त होता है।
So this peacefulness and proximity to nature is available in the Himalayas.
तो जो लोग शांति की खोज करते हैं, उनके लिए वो स्वर्ग है।
Those people searching for peace, it is heaven for them.
मनुष्य जो सुख की खोज करता है, वो सुख मुझे हिमालय में मिला है।
The happiness that man is searching for is found in the Himalayas.
जिस सुख का आनंद महसूस करता है, वो आनंद मुझे हिमालय में मिला है।
The joy one gets from peace, from experiencing peace, I have obtained that in the Himalayas.
आज आप विश्व भर में देख रहे हैं, अनेकों लोग मंदिरों में जाते हैं, प्रार्थना घरों में जाते हैं, अनेक जगह जाते हैं और परमात्मा के पास जाते हैं, परमात्मा को खोजते हैं, परमात्मा को ढूंढते हैं।
You will notice that people go to many places and search for God outside. They go to temples and other places.
वो परमात्मा मुझे हिमालय में मिला है।
I found that God in the Himalayas.
और परमात्मा की प्राप्ति के बाद में परमात्मा की खोज ही समाप्त हो गई।
And after I obtained God, my search came to an end.
अब ये परमात्मा कैसे मिला, परमात्मा की खोज कैसे हुई, वो थोड़ा आपको बताता हूँ।
And I will explain to you now how I found God.
बचपन से ही मेरी नानी कहा करती थी, परमात्मा अविनाशी है, परमात्मा कल भी था, परमात्मा आज भी है और परमात्मा कल भी रहेगा।
From a very young age, my maternal grandmother used to tell me that God existed yesterday, God exists today, and He exists tomorrow as
बचपन से
well.
समझ गया था, परमात्मा कोई शरीर नहीं हो सकता।
And from that I came to understand that God cannot be any physical form.
उसके बाद में परमात्मा की खोज चालू की, जिसने परमात्मा के लिए जो कहा सब किया।
And my search for God started, and anyone who gave me a suggestion, I did that.
किसी ने बोला पूजा करो, पूजा किया।
Some people said, do this ritual, I did it.
किसी ने बोला यज्ञ करो, यज्ञ किया।
Some people said, do the fire ceremony, and I did that.
किसी ने बोला हवन करो, हवन किया।
Some people said, do fire ceremonies, I did that.
लेकिन कहीं पे भी परमात्मा की खोज समाप्त नहीं हुई।
But my search for God never ended.
तो मैं मेरे जीवन के अनुभव के आधार पर कह रहा हूँ कि परमात्मा कभी प्रयत्न से पाया ही नहीं जा सकता।
And I am telling this based on my personal experience that one cannot attain God through efforts.
जब मनुष्य के प्रयास समाप्त हो जाते हैं तो फिर प्रार्थना को जन्म होता है।
When man's efforts come to an end, then prayer is born.
मेरे भी जीवन में प्रार्थना का जन्म हुआ।
In my life as well, prayer was born.
मेरी अच्छी पढ़ाई हुई, अच्छा एजुकेशन हुआ, मार्केटिंग मैनेजर की पोस्ट में मैं कलकत्ते में कार्यरत था।
I had a good education, I graduated, and I had a post of marketing manager in Calcutta.
एक जवान व्यक्ति को जो चाहिए वो सब इच्छाएं पूर्ण हो गई थी, फिर भी अतृप्ति थी, फिर भी सेटिस्फेक्शन नहीं था।
I had everything that a young man could wish for and attained everything, and yet I had a dissatisfaction within me.
परमात्मा की खोज जारी थी।
My search for God was still ongoing.
नदी के किनारे बैठता था तो वहाँ पे भी रोता था। मैं सोचता था नदी का ये पानी कभी ना कभी किसी न किसी स्थान पे किसी न किसी क्षण सागर में जाके विलीन हो जाएगा, जहाँ नदी का अस्तित्व समाप्त हो जाएगा, वो समुद्र कहलाएगा।
When I used to sit by the river, I used to cry and think that the river will one day reach the ocean and its existence will come to an end.
मेरे जीवन में वो क्षण कब आएगा जब मेरा स्वयं का अस्तित्व समाप्त हो जाएगा?
So when will that moment come in my life where my existence comes to an end?
बार-बार प्रार्थना करता था, बार-बार प्रेयर करता था।
And I used to pray for this repeatedly.
और जब भी प्रार्थना करता था, जब भी प्रेयर करता था, पता नहीं क्यों मुझे पशुपतिनाथ का मंदिर नजर आता था।
And whenever I used to pray, I used to get the vision of Pashupatinath temple.
उसके बाद में एक सिद्ध पुरुष नजर आते थे।
And I used to get the vision of a sage.
वो कौन थे, नेपाल क्या था, मुझे कोई जानकारी नहीं थी, कभी नेपाल नहीं आया।
At that time, I didn't know who he was or never even heard of Nepal.
लेकिन बार-बार नेपाल आने की इच्छा होती थी।
But yet, I used to get this desire to visit Nepal.
तो मैं मार्केटिंग के काम से कानपुर आया हुआ था।
So I had come to Kanpur through business.
उस समय 5 दिन की बैंक की स्ट्राइक हुई, तो मैंने वहाँ से मैप देखा, मैप में देखा कि नेपाल पास में, तो नेपाल जाने का मन बनाया।
So there was a bank strike going on for 5 days at the time, and in the map I saw that Nepal was nearby, and so I had the desire to visit Nepal.
कानपुर से गोरखपुर आया, गोरखपुर से सोनाली आया, सोनाली से भैरवा आया और भैरवा से काठमांडू आया।
So I went from Kanpur to Gorakhpur, then from there to Sonali, from Sonali to Bhairava, and then to Kathmandu.
और काठमांडू में एक होटल के अंदर रुका। दूसरे दिन रुद्राभिषेक करने के लिए जैसे ही पशुपतिनाथ के मंदिर में गया, तो वहाँ पुजारी मेरा इंतजार ही कर रहा था।
In Kathmandu, I stayed in a hotel. The next day, I went to perform a ritual. When I got to the temple, the priest was standing and waiting for me.
तो मुझे खूब आश्चर्य हुआ। मैंने मेरे ऑफिस को नहीं बताया था, मैंने मेरे घर पे नहीं बताया, मैंने किसी को नहीं बताया था कि मैं नेपाल जा रहा हूँ। इसको कैसे पता चला?
I was astonished that I had not informed anyone where I was going, and how did he come to know that I was visiting?
तो उन्होंने कहा एक नेपाली सज्जन 3 दिन से तुम्हारा यहाँ इंतजार कर रहे हैं।
And he advised me that a Nepali person was waiting for me for 3 days.
बाद में वो नेपाली सज्जन को मैं मिला, वो व्यक्ति ने कहा मैं शिबू नाम के एक दूर के गांव से आया हूँ।
I met with that Nepali man, and he said he was traveling from a town called Shibu, which was quite far.
मेरा गांव हिमालय के तलहटी में है।
He said that his town was at the base of the Himalayas.
और हमारे गांव के पीछे एक छोटी सी गुफा है, उस गुफा में एक शिव बाबा रहते हैं।
And behind the town there was a cave, and in the cave there was a man living called Shiv Baba.
जब पिछली बार वो प्रकट हुए थे, तो उन्होंने आपको लाने के लिए मुझे भेजा है।
And the last time that man in the cave had visited the village, he had asked to bring me there.
मुझे खूब आश्चर्य हुआ, मैं कभी नेपाल आया नहीं था, यहाँ कोई जानता नहीं था, तो यहाँ कौन मुझे बुला रहा है?
So I was quite astonished that nobody knows me in this place. So who is this person calling to me?
लेकिन उस व्यक्ति के शब्दों में इतनी शक्ति थी कि मैं उसके साथ खींचा चला आया।
But there was so much attraction in that man's words that I went with him.
उसके साथ साथ बस का जर्नी किया, उसके साथ साथ पैदल जर्नी किया, और बड़े मुश्किल से जाके उसके गांव में पहुंचे।
And so we reached his village after much trouble, traveling through train with the bus and walking as well.
दूसरे दिन उसने खूब ऊपर हिमालय पे जाके एक पहाड़ी पे एक पत्थर पे मुझे बिठा दिया।
And the next day he took me to the mountain and had me sit on a stone.
बोले यहीं बैठे रहो, वो यहीं आएंगे।
And he asked me to wait there for Shiv Baba.
मैं दिन भर उनका इंतजार करता, शाम को देखा तो एक वृद्ध सज्जन गुफा में से बैठ करके बाहर निकल रहे थे।
And I waited the whole day for him. In the evening I saw that there was a man, a very old man coming out of the cave.
बाद में वो जैसे ही मेरे पास में आए, मैंने देखा खूब ऊंचा कद था, गौर वर्ण था, नीली आंखें थी, सफेद बाल थे।
And then I saw that he was very tall. He had white hair, blue eyes.
मैं उनको पहचान गया, ये वो सिद्ध पुरुष थे जो मेरे सपनों में आते थे।
And I recognized him as the man who used to come in my visions.
मैंने उनको साष्टांग दंडवत किया।
And I bowed down to him.
उसके बाद में उन्होंने उठ करके मुझे गले लगाया। 40 साल से मैं नेपाल में तेरा इंतजार कर रहा हूँ, तेरी राह देख रहा हूँ।
He asked me to get up, and then he embraced me, and he said that I have been waiting for you for 40 years.
बाद में वो मुझे अपनी गुफा के अंदर लेके गए।
And he took me inside his cave.
गुफा अंदर से बहुत बड़ी थी,
The cave was very large from inside,
लेकिन उसका मुंह खूब छोटा था।
but the mouth of the cave was very small.
दूसरे दिन उन्होंने कुछ पानी अभिमंत्रित करके मेरे सर पे डाल दिया
The next day he took some water, vibrated it and sprinkled it over my head.
और मेरे सर के ऊपर हाथ रख दिया।
And he put his hand on my head.
जैसे हाथ रखा, मैं 3 दिन के लिए समाधि में चला गया।
And just as he did that, I went into trance for 3 days.
और 3 दिन के बाद में जब उठा, देखा तो सामने मुस्कुरा रहे थे।
And after 3 days, when I opened my eyes, I saw he was in front of me smiling.
फिर उन्होंने बताया कि ध्यान करने के लिए चित्त सदैव सहस्त्रार चक्र पे रखना पड़ता है।
And he told me that in order to meditate, one must keep their attention at the crown of the head.
नेपाल विश्व का सहस्त्रार चक्र है।
Nepal is the crown chakra of the world.
यही कारण है जो ऋषि मुनि है वो आकर के नेपाल में ध्यान करते हैं, नेपाल में साधना करते हैं।
And this is the reason why many saints and sages come to the Himalayas to meditate.
इसलिए पिछले 40 सालों से मैं यहाँ पे साधनारत था।
And that is why I have been here meditating for the last 40 years.
और मेरे गुरु ने एक अनुभूति की शक्ति मुझे सौंपी थी तुझे देने के लिए, वो मैं तुझे समर्पित कर रहा हूँ।
And my gurus had given me the power of experience to hand over to you.
वो मेरे शरीर के सामान्य मनुष्य थे, 2 हाथ के थे, 2 पैर के थे, फिर भी मैंने उनको परमात्मा मान लिया।
He was an ordinary looking man just like me. He had 2 hands and 2 legs, and yet I believed him to be God.
ये जानते हुए कि वो परमात्मा नहीं है।
Even though I knew that he was not God.
उनको इसलिए मान लिया क्योंकि परमात्मा एक विश्व चेतना है।
I believed him to be God because God is a universal consciousness.
लेकिन वो विश्व चेतना शक्ति मुझे जिस माध्यम से मिली, वो माध्यम ही मेरे लिए सर्वस्व हो गया।
But the medium through which I experienced the universal consciousness, that medium became God for me.
और जैसे ही मैंने उनको परमात्मा माना, मेरी रिसीविंग 100% खुल गई।
And just as I believed him to be my God, my receiving became maximum capacity.
और उनका 100% ज्ञान मेरे में ट्रांसफर हो गया।
And 100% of his knowledge got transferred into me.
उन्होंने दिया नहीं, मैंने लिया नहीं।
He did not give it to me and I did not take it from him.
दूसरा, मुझे परमात्मा मिल गया, मुझे परमेश्वर मिल गया, ये अनुभव मुझे हुआ।
And additionally, I got the satisfaction that I have attained God.
मनुष्य के जीवन का ये सबसे बड़ा समाधान है।
This is the biggest satisfaction of a man's life.
जब वो समाधान मिलता है तो आपकी अंतर्मुखी यात्रा प्रारंभ होती है।
And when one achieves this satisfaction, then the inward journey begins.
मैं आपको मेरे अनुभव से कह सकता हूँ, सदगुरु एक ऐसा माध्यम है जो आपकी अंतर्मुखी यात्रा प्रारंभ करता है।
And I can tell you this from my personal experience that a Sadguru, a realized master, is one who can begin your journey inwards.
और अंतर्मुखी यात्रा प्रारंभ होने के बाद में मैंने अनुभव किया कि परमात्मा मेरे ही भीतर है, परमात्मा मेरे ही अंदर है।
And once my inward journey began, I came to realize that God is within me.
उन्होंने कहा 800 सालों से कई ऋषि मुनि उपासना पद्धतियों का अध्ययन कर रहे थे।
And he told me that for the last 800 years, there are many saints and sages who have been meditating.
सारी उपासना पद्धति में एक ही बात कही गई है, अच्छी बातें करो और बुरी बातें छोड़ो, अच्छी बातें करो, बुरी बातें छोड़ो।
And in all the methods of worship over the last 800 years, they have been teaching the same thing: do good and don't do bad.
लेकिन लोग उपदेश एक कान से सुनते हैं, दूसरे कान से निकाल देते हैं।
But people listen to this from one ear and pass it through the other.
उसके अंदर कुछ बदलाव नहीं आता, कुछ चेंज नहीं आता।
But they don't inculcate that into their behavior.
इसीलिए उन्होंने एक अनुभूति का संस्कार निर्मित किया और वो संस्कार लोगों तक पहुंचाने का कार्य मेरे माध्यम से करने के लिए मुझे अधिकृत किया।
And that is why they developed the values of experience, and through my medium, they shared that knowledge with the world.
और वही संस्कार की अनुभूति पिछले 25 सालों से मैं विश्व भर में बांट रहा हूँ।
And I have been sharing that the values of experience in the world for the last 25 years.
कुछ नहीं, मैं ध्यान करता हूँ और ध्यान में प्रार्थना करता हूँ कि जो ध्यान में मुझे स्थिति मिली है वो प्रत्येक मनुष्य मात्र को मिल जाए।
I don't do anything. I just meditate, and in my meditation, I say a prayer that the experience that I have received, it can be received by every person in the world.
तो सामने वाले को वो स्थिति प्राप्त हो जाती है।
And so the person in front of me also receives that state.
दूसरा, ये अनुभूति को आज अनेकों देशों ने अनुभव किया है।
And many people around the world in different countries have experienced that.
वो लोग अलग-अलग जाति के हैं,
People from different religions,
अलग-अलग देश के हैं,
from different countries,
अलग-अलग रंग के हैं,
from of different colors,
अलग-अलग भाषा के हैं,
from different languages,
अलग-अलग लिंग के हैं,
from different castes.
उसके बावजूद भी सबको एक जैसी समान अनुभूति होती है।
And despite all these differences, all of them receive the similar experience.
और अनुभूति होने के बाद में उनके भीतर का मनुष्यता जागृत होती है।
And after achieving this experience, the humanity within them awakens.
तो मेरे 25 साल के अनुभव के आधार पे आपको कह सकता हूँ कि योग ही एक ऐसा माध्यम है जिससे वसुधैव कुटुंबकम की कल्पना साकार हो सकती है।
And based on my personal experience of the last 25 years, I can say that yoga is the medium that can connect every human being.
अन्य कोई रास्ता, अन्य कोई मार्ग नहीं है।
There is no other way.
मैं कई राष्ट्र अध्यक्ष से मिलता हूँ, कई राष्ट्रपतियों को मिलता हूँ, कई प्रधानमंत्रियों को मिलता हूँ।
I meet with many heads of state, prime ministers and presidents.
उनको मैं कहता हूँ, आपकी इच्छा होती है ना कि आपके देश में धर्मों के विवाद न हो।
And I ask them, it must be your wish that there must not be any division of religion in your country.
आपकी इच्छा होती है ना कि आपके देश में भाषा के विवाद न हो।
And you must have the wish that there are no differences and barriers due to languages.
आपके देश में जाति के विवाद न हो।
That there are no quarrels because of caste in your country.
ये केवल आपकी इच्छा है, लेकिन ये हो सकता है क्या? नहीं, आपके पास में इसका कोई मार्ग नहीं है।
You may wish this, but do you have a solution for this? No.
लेकिन समर्पण ध्यान संस्कार एक ऐसा मार्ग है जिसके कारण ये सब संभव है।
But the values of Samarpan meditation is one path through which this can be possible.
मुझे ना हिमालय से समाज में ले जाने वाले शिरडी के साईं बाबा थे।
Sai Baba of Shirdi is the one who brought me from the Himalayas and into
मेरे
society.
अंदर खूब भाव था कि उनके लिए मैं कुछ करूं।
And I had a lot of feeling that I want to do something for
और
him.
वो करने का अवसर मुझे पिछले साल मिला था।
And I got this opportunity to do something last year.
पिछले साल 23 अप्रैल से लेके 30 अप्रैल तक एक बहुत बड़ा महाशिविर उनके संस्था ने आयोजित किया था।
So last year, the Shirdi Sai Baba Trust organized a large event of 8 days from 23rd of April to 30th of April.
उसमें 50,000 लोगों ने भाग लिया था। 8 दिन का शिविर था।
50,000 people took part.
25 देशों के 400 विदेशी लोग आए हुए थे।
It lasted for 8 days and people from 25 different countries attended it.
मेरा प्रवचन तो हिंदी में चलता था।
My discourse was in Hindi.
उसके बावजूद भी वो बोलते थे अच्छा है स्वामी तुम्हारी भाषा समझ में नहीं आती।
There was no translation and yet they gave the feedback that it's good that we don't understand your language or the words.
उनका पूरा चित्त, उनका पूरा ध्यान मेरे वाइब्रेशंस पे रहता था।
And their full attention was on the vibrations.
तो वाइब्रेशन एक ऐसी भाषा है ये प्रत्येक मनुष्य मात्र को समझ में आती है।
So vibration is the one language that can be understood by every human being.
अभी मैं जर्मनी से 1 महीने के 4 शिविर लेकर के यहाँ आ रहा हूँ।
I have just taken 4 workshop weekend retreats in Germany before coming here.
जर्मनी के लोग भी जर्मनी में ट्रांसलेट करके उसको समझते हैं।
So even the people in Germany used to translate it into German.
यानी आज अगर मनुष्य को मनुष्य के साथ जोड़ने का है तो योग एक अच्छा मार्ग है।
And so yoga is one good path to connect and unite human beings.
दूसरा आप देखोगे कुछ दिनों के बाद में 21 जून आएगी।
So you will see that 21st June is coming soon.
और 21 जून के दिन योग यानी योगासन ये सब जगह दिखाया जाएगा।
So 21st of June is the World International Yoga Day, and in that you will find that people promote Yoga Day as the physical exercises, the yoga asanas.
टीवी पे दिखाया जाएगा, रेडियो पे दिखाएगा, न्यूज़पेपर पे दिखाया जाएगा।
It will be shown on the TVs, newspapers and radios that yoga is about yoga asanas.
और मैं इस उम्र में भी पूरे विश्व भर में घूम घूम के लोगों को बता रहा हूँ कि योगासन केवल योग नहीं है, योग का केवल एक अंग है।
And even in this age, I travel around the world and I teach people that yogasans is not the complete yoga. It is only a part of yoga.
मेरी जीवन की एक घटना आपको बताता हूँ।
And I will share one incident from my life.
एक बार मैं ऑस्ट्रेलिया में गया था।
Once I visited Australia.
ऑस्ट्रेलिया में 5 योगा टीचर मुझे मिलने के लिए आई।
5 yoga teachers came to meet me.
और 5 योगा टीचर का सुंदर सुडौल शरीर था।
And all 5 yoga teachers had a beautiful slim body.
उतना ही खराब, उतना ही कमजोर, उतना ही वीक चित्त था।
And yet their chitta was just as weak.
तो मुझे खूब आश्चर्य हुआ, ऐसा क्यों हुआ होगा?
I was astonished that they are yoga teachers and why is their chitta so weak?
बाद में मुझे बचपन में मेरी नानी की बात कही हुई याद आई।
And I remembered a story from my childhood of my maternal grandmother.
मेरे नानी के सामने कोई भी जवान लड़की मिरर देखती थी वो जोर से डांट लगाती थी, मिरर मत देख।
And whenever a young girl used to look at herself in the mirror, my maternal grandmother used to scold her and make her stop.
तो मैं बचपन में सोचता था वो लड़की मिरर देख रही, नानी का क्या जा रहा है?
And in my childhood, I used to wonder and question why she did that.
मेरे को ऑस्ट्रेलिया में उसका अर्थ समझ में आया।
And I understood the reason for that in Australia.
वो लड़की क्या देखेगी? मिरर में अपने अंग प्रत्यंगों को देखेगी
When the girl looks into the mirror, she will look at her physical body.
जो नाशवान है।
The physical body is perishable.
तो उस पर जितना चित्त डालोगे उतना चित्त का नाश होगा।
And so the more you put your attention or your chit on it, the more it will become weak.
दूसरे दिन 5 योगा टीचर फिर कार्यक्रम में आई थी।
And the next day I met those 5 yoga teachers again.
उनको मैंने पूछा, आप सुंदर सुडोल शरीर के लिए इसमें आई ना?
So I asked them, you have come into the path of yoga only to make a beautiful slim body.
उन्होंने कहा, हाँ स्वामी जी, हमारा अध्यात्म से कोई लेना देना नहीं, हम तो केवल फिगर बनाने को इसमें आए थे।
And they said, yes, Swamiji, we have not come into this path because of spirituality. We just came to make a beautiful body.
मैंने कहा, फिगर बन गई, लेकिन चित्त का नाश हुआ उसका क्या?
And so I asked them that now you have beautiful bodies, but what about your weakened chitta?
बाद में मैंने उनको कहा, चित्त को अगर स्ट्रांग करने का है तो आकाश की तरफ रोज आधा घंटा देखो।
And I said to them that if you want to strengthen your chitta, then you must do some sky gazing every day.
कहने का अर्थ केवल योगासन योग नहीं है।
What I mean to say is that yogasanas, the physical yoga, is not the complete yoga.
मुझे चिंता है अगर ऐसा ही 50 साल तक चलता रहा तो आने वाली जनरेशन, आने वाली पीढ़ी सोचेगी योगासन यानी योग, योग यानी योगासन।
I am worried that if this trend continues, then the next generation in 50 years will only think of yogasanas as the complete yoga.
योग का क्षेत्र इतना बड़ा है कि मैं लंदन के एक टीवी स्टूडियो में बैठा था।
The field of yoga is very vast. Once I was sitting in a TV studio in London.
मुझे विश्व के लोग केवल इतना बोलते थे, स्वामी जी मुझे मार्गदर्शन करो।
People from all around the world used to call into that program, and all they used to say is, Swamiji, please guide me.
और वो अलग-अलग देशों के थे, उनके सिर्फ आवाज़ को सुन करके मैं उनके बारे में संपूर्ण जानकारी प्राप्त करता था, उनकी समस्याएं जानता था, उनके प्रॉब्लम जानता था, उसका निदान बताता था।
And they were calling from different countries around the world, and I would just come to know everything about them, about who they are and what their problem is, and give them solutions for their problems just by listening to their voice.
तो अलाउंसर बोला, भारत से महान ज्योतिषाचार्य आए हुए हैं, आप आपका नाम भी मत बताओ, आपके बारे में सब कुछ बता देते।
And the announcer introduced me as a great astrologer visiting from India.
मैंने उनको कहा, मैं ज्योतिषाचार्य नहीं हूँ, जैसे अंगूठे की छाप प्रत्येक व्यक्ति की यूनिक है।
And I told him that I am not an astrologer, but just as every individual has a unique fingerprint.
ठीक वैसा ही प्रत्येक व्यक्ति का ओरा, प्रत्येक व्यक्ति का आभामंडल यूनिक है।
In the same way, each individual has a very unique aura.
जो व्यक्ति पूछता है ना, उसका आभामंडल का अध्ययन करके उसके समस्या जानता हूँ, उसका निदान बताता हूँ।
And the person asking the question, I will examine their aura and come to know about their problems.
कहने का अर्थ ये कि योग का क्षेत्र इतना विशाल है कि एक स्थान पर बैठ के आप किसी भी व्यक्ति की संपूर्ण जानकारी प्राप्त कर सकते हैं।
So what I mean to explain is that the field of yoga is so vast that through yoga you can come to know all the information about a person anywhere in the world.
ये कैसे संभव है? विश्व चेतना एक है।
How is this possible? Universal consciousness is one.
आप अगर आपका शरीर भाव छोड़ करके उसमें समरस हो जाते हैं तो आपको उसके मार्फत से विश्व के किसी भी व्यक्ति की संपूर्ण जानकारी प्राप्त हो सकती है।
If you get rid of your body consciousness and connect with universal consciousness, then through that connection you can come to know all the information about anyone around the world.
आजकल उच्च किस्म के कैमरों के कारण, मशीनों के कारण आध्यात्मिक स्थिति को जांचा जा सकता है, परखा जा सकता है।
These days, due to development of technology, there is a camera that can capture the image, and you can come to know a person's state, spiritual state, through the photograph.
मैंने दिल्ली में सांसद लोगों का शिविर लिया था।
A few years ago, I took a workshop for parliamentarians in Delhi.
मैंने सांसदों को कहा था, जितने आध्यात्मिक गुरु हैं, वो सब आध्यात्मिक गुरुओं को लाइसेंस इश्यू करो ना।
So I gave them a suggestion that there are so many spiritual gurus and leaders out there. You can issue licenses to them.
देखिए, हम आरटीओ में जाते हैं, उसके बाद में ड्राइविंग टेस्ट देते हैं, अच्छी ली तो वो अपने को लाइसेंस देते हैं।
For example, with the motor vehicle, we go and register ourselves. We give a driving test, and then we get a license.
तो प्रत्येक गुरु का आध्यात्मिक हो रहा कि रिपोर्ट देखो, रिपोर्ट अच्छी है, उसको लाइसेंस दो।
And so you can take the picture of every spiritual leader and then look at their state, and based on that you can give them a license.
तो उसके अंदर दोनों का फायदा है। आध्यात्मिक गुरु को उसका पतन होने के पहले पता चल जाएगा।
So this will be beneficial to both. The spiritual leader will come to know about his own downfall or spiritual state, in advance.
और एक आध्यात्मिक गुरु का पतन होता है तो लाखों साधकों का भाव टूटता है.
And on the other hand, when a spiritual leader comes to his downfall, then it hurts the feelings of many followers.
लेकिन ये घटना मैंने जैसे थियोसॉफिकल सोसाइटी लंदन में बताई तो कुछ अंग्रेज मेरे को बोले, स्वामी जी आपका भी तो ओरा पुराना है, आपको नया ओरा निकाल के दिखाओ ना, अगर वो अच्छा होगा तो हम ध्यान करेंगे.
So when I shared this incident with people in London, and they told me that your aura photograph is also very old.
उसके बाद में मुझे एक डॉक्टर के पास लेके गए.
And so they took me to a clinic.
वो डॉक्टर ने मुझे मशीन पे दोनों हाथ रखने को बोला.
And so the doctor there asked me to put my hands on 2 plates.
और मशीन के द्वारा आधे घंटे तक मेरा ओरा का अध्ययन किया.
And by putting my hands on those metal plates through a machine, they examined my aura for half an hour.
अध्ययन करने वाले उन्होंने कहा आप जीवंत कैसे हो.
And after examination, he said, how are you still alive?
मैंने पूछा ऐसा क्यों पूछ रहे हो.
And I asked him, why are you asking this question?
उन्होंने कहा ये उस व्यक्ति का ओरा है जिसका शरीर भाव पूर्णतः छूट गया है, तो आपका शरीर भी छूट जाना चाहिए.
And he said that this aura is of a person whose body consciousness has completely ended, and therefore they would leave the body.
उसको कहा ये मेरी ध्यान की स्थिति है, 24 घंटे इस स्थिति में नहीं रहता.
And I told him that this is the state of my meditation. I don't stay in this state for 24 hours.
तो आप लोग अपने शरीर को एक मोबाइल समझो.
And so take your body to be a mobile phone.
जिस प्रकार से हम मोबाइल को चार्ज करते हैं ना, ठीक उसी प्रकार से केवल 30 मिनट अपने आप को दो.
So just as we charge our mobile phones, you to give yourself 30 minutes every day.
और 30 मिनट में अपने शरीर को चार्ज करो.
And in those 30 minutes, recharge yourself.
दूसरा ऐसा नहीं कि मैं हिमालय से उतरा मेरा ओरा खूब अच्छा है. मैंने संसार में आने के बाद में, फैमिली में रहने के बाद में, सब लोगों लाखों लोगों को मिलने के बाद में फिर ओरा का प्रगति हुआ है.
It's not that I had this aura in the Himalayas. I have come into society, I have a family, and I live in society, and my aura has developed over time.
मैं रोज केवल 30 मिनट ध्यान करता हूँ, बस बाकी कुछ नहीं.
I just meditate for 30 minutes every day. I do nothing else.
और एकदम मंत्र सिंपल है, सादा मंत्र है. मैं एक पवित्र आत्मा हूँ, मैं एक शुद्ध आत्मा हूँ.
And the chant is very, very simple. I am a holy soul. I am a pure soul.
जब मैं बचपन में था ना, तो बचपन में ये मंत्र मेरे भीतर चलता था.
When I was a young child, this chant used to play in my head
उसी को मैंने मंत्र
constantly.
बना दिया.
And I made that a chant.
लेकिन उसके पीछे मेरी 60 साल की साधना है.
But this chant is backed by my spiritual practice of the last 60
और उसके
years.
साथ लाखों लोगों की सामूहिक शक्ति, कनेक्टिविटी है.
And it is also backed by the collectivity of hundreds of thousands of people around the world.
जैसे आप ये मंत्र के माध्यम से ध्यान करेंगे, आपको भी उनकी सामूहिकता का लाभ मिलेगा.
And just as you will meditate with this chant, you too will benefit from that collectivity.
कुछ नहीं, आज मैं आपको ध्यान करना सिखाऊंगा.
Today I wish to teach you how to meditate.
और इसी पद्धति से आप केवल 45 दिन आधा घंटा ध्यान करके देखिए.
And you practice this for 45 days.
आपको अगर अच्छा लगा तो आप आगे कंटिन्यू रखिए, अच्छा नहीं लगा तो छोड़ दीजिए.
If at the end of 45 days you like it, continue. If you do not like it, then you can stop doing it.
केवल एक बात कहने की, इसमें अपेक्षा के साथ इस मार्ग में मत आओ.
I just wish to say one thing. Do not come onto this path with any expectations.
इस मार्ग में मैं कोई अपेक्षा के साथ नहीं आया था.
I have not come onto this path with any expectations.
और आज जीवन के उस मुकाम पे पहुंचा हूं कि जहां पाने के लिए जीवन में कुछ भी बाकी नहीं रहा.
And I have reached those heights in my life that there is nothing else left to attain.
कुछ नहीं, अब हम ध्यान करेंगे.
Now we will meditate.
देखिए, जैसे मैं बैठा हूं ना, ऐसा बैठने का है.
Now sit like I am sitting.
आप अगर ऐसे नहीं बैठ सकते हो तो आप आपके नंगे पैर जमीन को स्पर्श करो.
If you are not able to sit like that, then place your feet touching the floor. So take your shoes off, if you can.
जमीन के अंदर एक गुरुत्वाकर्षण शक्ति रहती है. वो शक्ति हमारे बीमारियों को, हमारे टेंशन को, हमारे तनाव को शोषित कर हमको शुद्ध व पवित्र बनाती है.
So there is a gravitational force in the earth, and through that gravitational force, it pulls out all the negativity and illnesses from our body and makes us healthy.
और कुछ नहीं, हमारे मनुष्य का स्वभाव है, हम जहाँ पे हाथ लगाते हैं ना, हमारा चित्त वहाँ चला जाता है.
It is our human nature that wherever we place our hands, our attention goes to that place.
आप आपका राइट हैंड अपने तालू भाग पे रखिए.
So take your right hand and place it on the crown of your head.
और जहाँ पे तालू भाग पे हाथ रखा है, आपका चित्त भी आपको वहीं पे स्थिर करने का है.
And now just stabilize your attention at that place.
एकदम थोड़ा सा हल्का सा दबाव दीजिए.
At the crown of your head.
और दबाव देके 3 बार क्लॉकवाइज घुमाइए.
Press very, very gently and rotate clockwise direction 3 times.
और उसके बाद में एकदम धीरे-धीरे आंखें बंद करके चित्त को स्थिर करके हाथों को नीचे ले आइए.
Now very, very slowly Close your eyes, stabilize your attention at the crown of your head. Bring your hand very slowly down. Place it on your thighs.
और पूर्ण भाव के साथ बोलिए,
Now say with full feeling,
मैं एक पवित्र आत्मा हूँ,
I am a holy soul.
मैं एक शुद्ध आत्मा हूँ,
I am a pure soul.
मैं एक पवित्र आत्मा हूँ,
I am a holy soul.
मैं एक शुद्ध आत्मा हूँ,
I am a pure soul.
मैं एक पवित्र आत्मा हूँ,
I am a holy soul.
मैं एक शुद्ध आत्मा हूँ।
I am a pure soul.
और अपने चित्त को तालु वक्त पे स्थिर करके ध्यान करें।
Stabilize your attention at the crown of your head and meditate.
और पूर्ण भाव से प्रार्थना कीजिए, हे परमात्मा,
Now say this prayer with full feelings. O Lord,
कृपया मुझे आत्म साक्षात्कार प्रदान करें।
please grant me self-realization.
कृपया मुझे आत्म साक्षात्कार प्रदान कीजिए।
Please grant me self-realization.
कृपया मुझे आत्म साक्षात्कार प्रदान कीजिए।
Please grant me self-realization.
अब आपके शरीर में क्या संवेदनाएं होती है उधर चित्त रखें।
Now observe what you're feeling in your body.
अब धीरे धीरे अपने दोनों हाथ अपने आंखों के सामने लाइए और आप आंखों से अपने हाथों को देखिए। आपको महसूस होगा आपके हाथों में से ठंडे ठंडे वाइब्रेशंस निकलना प्रारंभ हो गए।
Now you may bring your hands up in front of your face slowly, and you will experience some vibrations in your hands. You may be feeling some cool vibrations.
देखिए, हम ना विचार दो प्रकार के करते हैं, या तो भूतकाल के विचार करते हैं या भविष्यकाल के विचार करते हैं। आपके दोनों विचार बंद हो गए थे और आपको एक आत्म शांति का अनुभव हुआ था।
Look, we have two types of thoughts. We either think of the past or we think of the future. In this moment, all your thoughts had stopped.
आज ना समय अभाव के अंदर हमने कम टाइम किया, लेकिन ये रोज आपको 30 मिनट करने का है.
Because of time constraints, we have done this in a very short time, but practice this for 30 minutes every day.
देखिए, आप करने के लिए जब बैठोगे ना, पहले आपका शरीर विरोध करेगा.
When you start doing this, first your body will resist.
आपको खांसी आएगी, उबासी आएगी, गैसेस पास होंगे.
You will pass gases, you will feel like coughing,
आपको खुजाल छूटेगी.
you will feel itchy.
ये सब शरीर का विरोध है.
This is the resistance of the body.
कितना भी विरोध हुआ तो आपको 30 मिनट बैठने का ही है.
It doesn't matter how much the body resists, just sit for 30 minutes.
फिर आपके मन में दुनिया भर के विचार आएंगे.
And then you will start to get thoughts from all around the world.
वो विचारों को भी रोकने का कोशिश नहीं करने का.
Do not attempt to stop those thoughts.
केवल विचारों पे चित्त रखो. धीरे धीरे विचार कम हो जाएंगे.
Just observe those thoughts and gradually those thoughts will reduce and
उसके बाद में
stop.
आपकी बुद्धि जागृत होगी.
And then your intellect will awaken.
और बुद्धि आपको बताएगी ध्यान तेरे बस का नहीं है, कहाँ आधा घंटा खराब कर रहा है, कितने महत्वपूर्ण काम बाकी है.
And your intellect will start telling you, this meditation is not for you. There is so much work to do. What are you doing here?
ऐसा बुद्धि ने कितना भी कहा ना, तो भी आधा घंटा उठने का नहीं.
It doesn't matter what the intellect tries to tell you. Do not get up. Sit for 30 minutes.
मैंने मेरे जीवन का 30 मिनट गुरु दक्षिणा में मेरे गुरु को दान कर दिया.
I have donated 30 minutes every day of my life to my guru.
आपके जीवन के 30 मिनट दान कर दीजिए.
So just donate 30 minutes to me.
आप सोचो आपका क्या जाएगा अगर आपने 45 दिन तक 30 मिनट दान किए तो आपके 22.5 घंटे जाएंगे.
So what will you lose? If you donate 30 minutes every day for 45 days, you will lose 22.5 hours.
लेकिन 22.5 घंटे के बाद में आपकी दुनिया बदल जाएगी.
But after those 22.5 hours, your whole life will change.
आपका जीवन सकारात्मक हो जाएगा.
Your life will become positive.
आपको निर्विचारता अनुभव होगी.
And you will experience thoughtlessness.
और आपके जीवन में सकारात्मक बदलाव आएगा.
And there will be a positive transformation in your life.
अगर बदलाव आया तो आप उसको कंटिन्यू रखिए, नहीं आया तो छोड़ दीजिए.
So if you experience this positive transformation, you can continue. If you do not, you can stop.
दूसरा समर्पण ध्यान संस्कार पूरे विश्व में निःशुल्क है.
The values of Samarpan meditation is practiced and taught for free around the world.
दूसरा इसके अंदर कोई उपदेश नहीं है. आप बोलेंगे ये हमको करने का है तो हमको क्या-क्या छोड़ना पड़ेगा.
There are no rules or restrictions in this.
इसमें कुछ भी छोड़ने का नहीं है.
You are not required to leave or give up anything you are currently doing.
दूसरा इसके अंदर अनुभूति है. आज के युवा को अनुभूति चाहिए.
It is based on experience. The youth these days want experience.
आप बोलोगे परमात्मा है तो वो नहीं मानेगा. परमात्मा की अनुभूति चाहिए.
If you tell the youth these days that God exists, and they will say, I want to experience God.
ये अनुभूति के कारण ही आज हजारों युवक इसके साथ जुड़े हुए हैं.
And because of this experience, hundreds of thousands of youth are connected with Samarpan meditation.
विश्व भर में सारे आश्रमों को सब युवा लोग संभाल रहे हैं. मैं आराम से घूमते रहता हूँ.
All the ashrams around the world are being run by youth.
आप रेगुलर करके अपना खुद का अनुभव लेके देखिए.
And so practice this regularly and get your own experience.
दूसरा आपको कोई प्रश्न हो तो पूछिए. इस विषय में कोई भी प्रश्न आप पूछ सकते हैं.
If you have any questions or did not understand anything, you may ask questions. Yes, they will bring a mic to you.
Excuse me, Namaskar Guru. I would like to know when does that 30 minutes happen? Because I keep looking at the watch, you know. Sadhguru taught me 6 minutes. 6 minutes sounds like an hour. So how do you get that time right?
वो पूछ रहे हैं कि आपने 30 मिनट का बोला है, लेकिन उसको ध्यान में कैसे पता चले कि अभी 30 मिनट हुए हैं या लंबा हुआ है, छोटा टाइम.
अलार्म लगा के बैठो ना.
You can put an alarm for 30 minutes.
नहीं, दूसरा वाइब्रेशन 3 प्रकार के होते हैं. देखिए अगर आपके हाथ में से ठंडे ठंडे वाइब्रेशन निकले तो समझ लो आपका स्थिति और आपके चक्रों का स्थिति अच्छा है.
There are 3 types of vibrations that one can feel on the palms of the hands. If you are feeling cool vibrations, that means it's a very good state.
अच्छा, दूसरा, अगर आपके हाथ में से जैसे चींटियां चल रही है, ऐसे झुंझुनी चल रही, ऐसा फील हुआ तो समझ लो थोड़ी और नीचे की स्थिति है.
So if you're feeling a tingling sensation on the palms of your hand, that means that you have a state that's a little bit lower.
और अपने हाथ में से अगर गरम गरम वाइब्रेशन निकले, समझ लो अपना थोड़ा खराब स्थिति है.
And if you are experiencing warm vibrations or warmth in your in the palms of your hands, that means that your state is not so good.
दूसरा हो सकता है कुछ लोगों के ना राइट हैंड में वाइब्रेशन नहीं आए होंगे.
And it could happen that some people did not feel any vibrations on their right hand.
इसका अर्थ है कि आपका लीवर गर्म है.
And that means that your liver is very warm.
और आप भविष्य की खूब चिंता करते हैं.
And you are worried about the future a lot.
दूसरा, अगर लेफ्ट हैंड में वाइब्रेशन नहीं आए होंगे, समझ लो आपको कोई टेंशन है, आपको कोई तनाव है.
If you did not get any feel any vibrations in your left hand, that means that you have a lot of tension or stress.
आज मैंने आपको योगा टीचर का उदाहरण दिया.
I have given you the example of some yoga teachers today.
लेकिन आप कल्पना करो, योगा टीचर तो बेचारी अपने शरीर को देख रही थी. डॉक्टर तो दिन भर हजारों पेशेंट को देखते हैं.
So just imagine the yoga teachers used to look at their own physical body. Doctors look at bodies of their patients
आज
all
दुनिया
day.
में डॉक्टर का स्थिति जितना खराब है ना, इतना खराब स्थिति दुनिया में किसी का भी नहीं है.
No one else has a worse state than doctors in this world.
इसी कारण अभी अहमदाबाद मेडिकल कॉलेज में मैंने 3 दिन का शिविर लिया था.
And that is why I held a workshop for 3 days at Ahmedabad Medical College.
और आज से 20 साल पहले ये अहमदाबाद मेडिकल कॉलेज ओरा के ऊपर बात करो तो मेरा मजाक उड़ाता था.
And 20 years ago, at the same place in Ahmedabad Medical College, if I talked about aura, people made fun of me.
स्वामी जी ओरा कुछ नहीं होता.
And they say there is nothing like an aura.
और जब अभी क्या हुआ मालूम है, अब खुद ओरा का मशीन लेके अपना खुद का ओरा निकाला, 3 दिन ध्यान किया, 3 दिन शिविर किया, 3 शिविर के बाद में अपना खुद का ओरा देखा.
And now this time what they did is they got the aura machine, so the machine that captures the aura or takes the aura photography, and they took their aura photograph before the workshop. They did the 3-day workshop, and then they took another photograph after that.
देखिए, शरीर को टच करके देखें, इसका अध्ययन मेडिकल साइंस में है.
Look, to touch the physical body, the medical science is based upon the physical body and examination of the physical body.
लेकिन विचारों का अध्ययन मेडिकल साइंस में नहीं है.
But it does not contain the examination of thoughts.
अभी भारत में हम रक्षक वर्ष मना रहे हैं.
We are currently celebrating the year of security forces in
तो
India.
हमने पुलिस और मिलिट्री के शिविर आयोजित कर रहे हैं.
And so we hold many workshops for police and military.
क्योंकि क्या है, ये लोग भी एक खराब वातावरण में खराब स्थिति में दिन भर रहते हैं.
And because they too stay in a very bad environment throughout the day.
और कोई प्रश्न आपको तो पूछ सकते.
Are there any other questions?
मेरे पास क्या खूब सारी बातें हैं और मैं बताते बैठूंगा तो मैं ही बोलते रहूंगा. फिर आप पूछो.
I have a lot of
फिर वो पत्नी बोलेगी तुमने किसी को पूछने ही नहीं दिया.
I have a lot of things to say and I could go on for the whole day.
Pranam, where do you get this aura machine? How do you measure your aura?
वो पूछ रही है कि ओरा का मेजरमेंट कैसे हो, ये मशीन कहाँ होता है?
क्या मालूम, मैंने तो लंदन में किया था.
Swamiji had done his in the UK. There is a machine called the Kirlian photography. You can search for it online in
मेरी
Google.
रिपोर्ट है पूरी 15 पेज की, जैसे सिटी स्कैन की रिपोर्ट आती है ना वैसे उसकी पूरी रिपोर्ट है.
And what they do is they actually provide a report, a 15-page report of the chakras.
और
and
जब
the-
वो रिपोर्ट पूरी वर्ल्ड वाइज गई ना तो श्रीलंका के बुद्ध मंदिर के मेन प्रीस्ट लेने के लिए मुझे कार में बाहर आए, बोले नहीं आपका ओरा सब सुंदर है, एकदम अच्छा है.
When I got this report done for myself, and that booklet reached Sri Lanka before I arrived. When I arrived in Sri Lanka, the priest, the head of the Buddhist temple, he came outside to receive me because he said that my state was like that of Buddha.
The aura is shown on the screen right now of Swamiji, the latest one.
Thank you, धन्यवाद.
उनको दोनों ही हाथ में वाइब्रेशन नहीं महसूस हुए.
देखिए क्या होता है मालूम है, हम एकादा घर बनाने के लिए जाते हैं, हमको खड्डे का प्लॉट मिलता है तो हम बोलते हैं कि हम घर बना रहे हैं, लेकिन दिखता नहीं है ना.
So his question was that he did not feel vibrations in either of the hands. And Swamiji's answer is that sometimes when we go to build a house, first we have to dig for the foundation.
देखिए अब आपका प्रॉब्लम क्या था, आपके पास्ट लाइफ की घटना है, आपके सबकॉन्शियस माइंड में बैठी हुई है. जब तक वो बाहर नहीं निकलती ना तब तक आप प्रेजेंट में नहीं आएंगे, और प्रेजेंट में नहीं आएंगे तब तक ध्यान नहीं लगेगा.
So your problem is that you have some bad incidences of your past life that are there in your subconscious. So until those do not clear, you will not get good meditation.
देखिए जैसे एक छिपकली है, छिपकली का आधा पार्ट टूटा हुआ है, वो टूटा हुआ पार्ट लेकर वो ऊपर चढ़ रही है.
Just like there is a lizard, if the half part of the lizard is almost falling off, but it carries that dead part with it and tries to climb up.
वो पार्ट उसके जीवन के साथ कभी जुड़ने वाला नहीं है.
That part will never reconnect with its life.
तो अच्छा क्या है वो पार्ट को छोड़ दो तो गति से आगे बढ़ सकते हैं.
And so the best thing is to let go of that part and then move forward.
आपके जीवन के बारे में एक ही वाक्य कह सकता हूँ, भूतकाल के जहर से वर्तमान काल का अमृत आप खराब कर रहे हैं.
And I can only say one thing about your life is that you are poisoning your future with the poison of the past.
कुछ नहीं, आज याद करो ना कि स्वामी जी ने मुझे भूतकाल के विचार करने को मना किया.
So just think that Swamiji has stopped me to think about the past from today.
तो ऑटोमेटिकली क्या होगा, पास्ट में आप जाओगे नहीं.
So automatically you will not go in the past.
तो जो फोर्स होगा ना उससे फिर भविष्य में भी जाओगे नहीं.
So there will be no force that will take you into the
पुराने
future.
घड़ी में पेंडुलम रहता था ना, पास्ट में हम विचार करके जाते हैं और भविष्य में उसके फोर्स से ऑटोमेटिकली चले जाते हैं.
So just like there is an old grandfather clock used to be in the past, where like a pendulum, and when the pendulum goes on one side, so when you're thinking of the past, then automatically with the force you will think of the future.
आज कुछ फील हुआ नहीं ना, चलेगा. केवल आप ये बातें याद रखो, 45 दिन का ध्यान करो, बराबर आपको अनुभव होगा.
So even if you did not feel anything today, it's okay. Just meditate for 30 minutes every day for the next 45 days.
Next question.
Next question.
दूसरा ना, ये ध्यान की पद्धति नहीं है.
This is not a method or technique of meditation. It's the values of meditation.
Guruji, shall I ask in English or Hindi?
Either, whichever is suitable.
So, as you said that you prescribe the method to
आप हिंदी में बोल सकते
to remember that or to say that I am the soul. You know, I have heard that Ramana Maharshi has. Ramana Maharshi used to say, tell his followers to ask, who am I? And I think that is the negative method, negative way of finding the truth, which is also known as neti neti. And you have prescribed the positive method or saying that I am the soul, I am the pure soul. And what I have learned is that, you know, for the beginners, it will be difficult to do such kind of the wisdom meditation. Do you prescribe some simple way for the beginners?
वो कहते हैं कि कुछ गुरु ऐसे कहते हैं कि वो प्रश्न पूछे कि मैं कौन हूँ और रमण महर्षि और आप
मेरे को ना बाकी कोई ज्ञान नहीं है इसके अलावा, क्योंकि मेरा इसमें तृप्त हूँ मैं.
So I do not have any knowledge about other gurus and other methods. I just share my experience.
तो मेरे को तो लोगों ने अपने अपने अनुभव बताया, बाकी मेरे को बाहर का कोई नॉलेज नहीं. और दूसरा मैंने ये बताया, करके देखो ना, अच्छा लगे तो ये करो, और वो अच्छा लगे वो करो, कुछ भी करो. कुछ तो करो. पैसेंजर में बैठो, एक्सप्रेस में बैठो, मेल में बैठो, कहीं तो बैठो, तो आगे तो जाओगे.
So I have explained a very simple technique. Try it out. If you like it, you can continue. But if you don't, you can continue with something else that you find more suitable.
और कोई प्रश्न? दूसरा 45 दिन करके देखो ना, तो आपका आप क्या अनुभव होंगे? आप पूछ रहे.
Last question.
टाइम हो रहा है उनका, एक आखिरी प्रश्न पूछ लो.
So we will take one last question.
Okay, this will be the last question for the session, if anybody has one.
नमस्कार, आपको मिलना चाहेंगे तो कहाँ मिलेंगे?
मैं मिलना बहुत कठिन है क्योंकि मैं विश्व भर में घूमते रहता हूँ. मैंने मेरे को ही डर है कि ऐसा चांस तुमको पूछने का मिलेगा क्या, क्योंकि शिरडी वगैरह में ना इतना बड़ा तो मेरा स्टेज रहता है जितना बड़ा ये हॉल है.
So her question was that she wanted to meet Swamiji, and he said it's very difficult to meet him because actually normally he doesn't take small programs. His programs are very huge, thousands of people attend, so it's a bit difficult. I'm sorry, just there was one gentleman, just that one last question.
So if I want to do the meditation, so what is the time? I can do it in morning, evening, night?
मैं सुबह 3:30 से 4 करता हूँ, आप कभी भी करो. मैं ज़्यादा आपको नियम बताऊंगा ना तो आप कुछ भी नहीं करोगे. कभी भी करो, सुबह करो, दोपहर को करो, शाम को करो, करो.
I meditate at 3:30 in the morning, but I'm telling you to meditate at any time.
फिर आप बोलोगे कौन सी दिशा में मुँह करके करूँ, कौन से आसन पे बैठूँ, कपड़े पहन के बैठूँ क्या, कपड़े निकाल के बैठूँ, नहा करके बैठूँ या बगैर नहा के बैठूँ. ऐसे जितने कंडीशन लगाऊंगा ना, आप कुछ भी नहीं करोगे. कैसे भी करो, सर नीचे पैर ऊपर करके करो, चलेगा.
Because if I tell you to meditate at a particular time, then there'll be all these restrictions and conditions. Then you will ask, okay, which side should I face and what should I wear and what should I do? There's nothing. You just meditate.
आप कंफर्टेबल जिसमें उसमें करो.
Whatever you are comfortable with, you meditate in that environment.
Thank you.
I'm very sorry.
Thank you all for the questions.
I'm very sorry we cannot take any other questions because of time constraints.
ना एक समर्पण संदेश करके टेलीग्राम है, उस पर रोज सुबह 4 बजे मैं एक मैसेज डालता हूँ और जो भी बाहर एक्टिविटी होती है उसकी सब न्यूज़ उसमें रहती है, आप उसको ज्वाइन करें.
There is a channel on Telegram. There's an app called Telegram. There is a channel called Samarpan Sandesh. I put daily messages on that, so you can join it as well if you like and get some more sort of guidance and messages, daily messages. Because we don't have any more time for questions, if you do have any questions, you can see one of us and we can pass them on later on. Also, we have booklets to hand out. You can take them from the reception with more information about Samarpan meditation. And you can also ask us questions via email. So all our details are in that booklet. Please collect one from the reception.
Thank you so much, Swamiji. Thank you so much, Swamiji, for helping us meditate. I think meditation has brought us to the present. Swamiji, please remain in the dais with us. We would like to give you the token of appreciation. I think meditation has helped bring us to the present, and that's why they say the present is a gift. Thank you, Swamiji, for giving us the gift of mindfulness.
And now to present with the token of appreciation.
Present में रहने का हमें ये तोहफा दिया है. तोहफा.
And to present the token of appreciation, may I please call on stage Ms. Pamfa Dhamala, the board member of Nepal Tourism Board.
Please, Janice. Yes, Janice.
Round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, to Sri Shiv Krupananda Swami and also to Ms. Pampa Dhamala.
Both of us are basking in the aura right now. Lucky us. Thank you so much. It's now at the end of the session, and it's been an amazing day so far. So much wealth of knowledge, wisdom, and enthusiasm, all power-packed in this hall today. What a great place to be in. Now, as a teacher, the last question that I have for you is, what did you learn today?
Well, I guess I had a lot of questions today, and the first very important thing that I learned is it's not really bad doing an MC with a teacher, though you revealed a lot of secrets about you. The second most important thing that I learned is about the adventure tourism that was mentioned by Ms. Noe Quintus, that the 65% of what the tourists spend on the destination is actually preserved for the destination, which can actually help the development of the local communities. The third and the most important thing that I learned about is the sustainability. And whenever we talk about sustainability, we always talk about preserving it for tomorrow. But what I learned here is it starts from me, starts from you, and it starts from every one of us to preserve it for tomorrow, so that not only just tomorrow, we also can cherish what we have today. And these are the big lessons that the HTM 2019 taught me very well.
he has another teacher now.
Yes, of course.
And yes, we now know many things, but from knowing, we now need to move to doing. Let's all do our part in making Nepal the gateway to the Himalayas.
Yes, I agree with that. And now to sum up our session, may we please call upon again Mr. Dipender Purustakal, the former Secretary of Ministry of Culture, Tourism and Civil Aviation, to come here on the stage. Round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for Mr.
The concluding remarks.
Thank you, Rita and Anish. In fact, what we learned today, Anish, we have already said. Yes, that's what we learned. So we were here at 8:30 in the morning, now it's around 18:50. So 10 hours, it's a long day. And after listening to 16 speakers and 3 moderators, and Swami Kripanandaji again making 20th speaker today. So it's been a very long day, but it's very fruitful though. So we all enjoyed. Started with mountain going to the heights, and then when there's peace, world peace through inner peace that we had a chance to meditate, and we are ending again with Swami Kripananda's meditation, Samarpan technique. So the day have been really fruitful to us. Doug Scott started with saying today, he explained about the lure of the Himalayas. He had witnessed the first tourism master plan of 1972. So starting with, the theme of the conference itself is International Gateway to Himalaya. Now we heard from some of the speakers saying that it's the birthplace of adventure travel. And also we knew that Nepal is the epicenter of adventure tourism. So all these synonyms fits right for Nepalese tourism industry. Himalaya is a magical place, Himalaya is a wonderland and whatnot. So Himalaya is a must-see destination, and that's what Nepal could boast of. But what we had learned today, the takeaways that we have today, again, referring to the speakers, is that the mass tourism that destroys the image, and so the carrying capacity has to be looked into at some point of time. The more is not always good. So that's what we have learned and we have heard from the speakers today. So the message that we are given is, please respect the world's highest mountain, Mount Everest. There were a few slides that were shown that it was, here in Kathmandu or even in Thailand, it's all the marketplaces are like that. In Nepal, it is Asan and Bhotahiti, that's the central place in Kathmandu that people have very difficulty to walk through. So walking through the small trails in a chain, waiting for your turn, doesn't really make the beauty of Mount Everest and climbing. So commercialization of the mountain peaks should not be too much. And there were prescriptions again by 2 speakers today mentioned to us. The eligibility criteria should be introduced. Experience should be counted. Access should be managed. The training and awareness is key. And also the climbers should have self-responsibility so that they don't pollute, and likewise. The travel trends, permanent anxiety, that the word that you invented for us, permanent anxiety, and adventure travel is the only answer to that. So, and that also is possible only if we become more responsible enough and we follow the hero's journey, the path that you have mentioned to us today. So it was a wonderful presentation, and we have to look for the responsible growth. The travelers want to travel responsibly. I think she had quoted some figures as well, 78%. That's a very positive result. If we follow that and plan accordingly our tourism in the high Himalayas or even in the urban areas, then that would be a success story for us to share with the world. Hiking is the king. Very good. Yeah, hiking is the king, so it will spoil not much. So why not we focus on that? Humanity is back. The digital world has its own benefits, but human face, the community, the interactions makes the travel more comfortable and more knowledgeable. It becomes more visible as well as more accommodating. So that's how the humanity is back, and it's not always technology or digital that makes the travel plan beneficial or successful. We talked about the human resource development things. We talked much about the spiritual tourism in Himalayas. Again, balance between the spirituality and business has to be maintained. Venerable Bunim mentioned to us about the billion-dollar business online, and Nepal can master that offline as well. So we can work on that and look into Buddha's teachings, how to make attractive, the destination attractive, and 3 areas that he had covered was timeless, universal scientific, and self-evident. So those were the Buddha's sayings that we could translate into our tourism plans. Sridhar Rana Rinpoche, he listed out so many places, 5 out of 7. He said the hidden or unexplored tourism sites lying in Nepal for the purpose of bringing the tourism into it. L.P. Bhanu Sharma also gave us with prescriptions of saying that the wellness tourism and spiritual tourism attracts high-end tourists, so we should be careful on that. Emotional intelligence, I mean, it was a wonderful presentation today, and the squad of Nepali youth are the glowing example of it. On the digital transformation and new trends, there were 3 excellent presentations with lifetime experiences and illustrated with figures and also the pictures. Very interesting and attracting. Thank you very much for all those presentations. And last but not the least, Shiva Kripananda Swami's meditation made us all enlightened. So let me do it for 45 days. I'm going to do it. Let's see how it works out to me. So thank you very much. These are the things that we have to carry back home. I think you are not going home anyway. Tomorrow you have to do your business. So these are the takeaways from today's, as I understand, are the takeaways of today's 10-hour sessions. I thank you for your presence, and also I'm sure that you guys all are benefited as I am. Thank you very much for giving this opportunity. Thanks to the organizers.
Thank you so much to Mr. Dipender Purusakal. And yes, I can see that we are only a few left on the conference room. Well, thank you to all the participants. Thank you to all the international delegates who are present here today. And thank you for making this Himalayan travel much successful. Thank you to all of our sponsors, and thank you to the organizing team as well. Today's dinner reception is being hosted by Kathmandu Marriott Hotel Naxal, and it's only for the international delegates, registered sellers, sponsors, and our supporting partners. So the official vehicle will be leaving now, and we have the buyers and sellers meet tomorrow, which will be starting exactly from 9 a.m. in the morning, and we request all of the buyers and sellers to be here on time. The official vehicle from your hotel will leave at 8 a.m. in the morning, and the appointment will start from 10 a.m. in the morning. So till then, enjoy the evening, guys. Bye-bye, and have a wonderful night.
And we hope to see you again in the next Himalayan Travel Mart. Thank you and good night, and we loved being your MCs.